And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap. And I tell you what.
And welcome back, boys and girls, for yet again another special edition of the Michael Decon program. First-time listeners out there, thanks for finding this. We do hope you stick around. Do keep in mind, no matter what it is you do choose to believe, we certainly admire you for your curiosity. Joining us tonight is Mr. Dugan Ashley. You may have seen him at one time or another on YouTube, shooting various guns, various expensive guns. He ran the popular channel Carnicon. Very badass. Red-pilled indeed. We will find out what has been going on with our boy in a moment. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for allowing us into your hearts and into your minds. Here we are again, on a night like this. Hello to all of you out there. Hope you are doing well. Hello to those in the chat room right now. We've got a bit of a rattlesnake, as I like to say, boys and girls. Tonight's episode will be a good one. I promise. We are about to burn this mother down. I'm joking, of course, but it is quite surreal to see what's taking place right now, right before our own very eyes. Quite interesting. Now, without further ado, let's get down to business and bring in Mr. Dugan Ashley, who I believe is patiently waiting, along with my co-host, Mr. Mike Hideous. What's going on, boys?
Hi-ho.
How you doing, man? Oh, did we lose you already?
No, I'm here.
Okay, good.
I didn't know who was talking to Mike.
Mike, are you still there with us?
I am here, guys. Hello, Michael. Hello, Mr. Ashley.
Beautiful. Yes, I want to thank both of you for hanging out with me this evening, along with the great listeners out there. Plenty to discuss, plenty in the chamber to discuss. Go ahead.
Michael, please check. Do you have him muted?
No.
I just muted myself.
He muted himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw a mute sign. I didn't know if he knew it was on or not. Okay, no problem. Thank you. Sorry. Go ahead, Michael.
Oh, yes. Now, of course, there's so much to discuss with our guest. And who would have thought? Who would have thought 2020 would be this way, boys?
I'll tell you one thing. There's some serious issues going on in just 5 months of this year.
Seriously, it's insane.
I knew that it was going to happen in about 2016. I didn't know the time frame, but I kind of knew the game plan about 2016.
You knew some shit was going to pop off.
Oh yeah.
What did you know? What did you know?
Like what? The first indicator?
Right.
Well, I mean, what did you think was going to happen? What did you kind of foresee?
Well, the biggest thing would have been like, I'm trying to think of what was 2016. I'll have to come back to that. 2017 would have been like the RIT PDF release. RIT, whatever it's called, capital management or whatever. Yeah, advising investors to start to hedge against the U.S. dollar. And as soon as I saw that, it's very reminiscent of the pre-29 warning that came out before the stock market crash.
Right. Now again, should I call you Mr. Ashley? I don't know what you want me to call you.
No, you should just call me Doug.
All right, Doug. Gotcha.
I work for a living.
Cool. I got you, buddy. So you had a very, very popular YouTube channel many, many moons ago, for those that don't know, called Carnicon. And, I recall years ago that I did, in fact, catch one of your videos. And a listener actually brought it to my attention. He said, you should bring this guy on. And I thought, who the fuck is this? So I go and check you out, and I think, wow, you know what? I actually seen this guy before, and I recall he had great videos. What happened? Why did your channel go down? And that's what I'm wondering right now. What happened, Doug?
Well, okay, it's kind of a long story. So
We're here. It's
like,
okay.
yeah, that's true. Good point. Touche. So that in 2012, that's when it started. I actually started on Halloween in 2012 is when the channel started. And then that was kind of like in a weird transitional period for YouTube where they were in a like a mid transition to the current ownership and operating capacity that they're at now, where they're,
Right.
like integrated with Google and shit. And when that, the first couple of years, I just wasn't really cognizant of what the reality of what was going on. But I would get like, like back then they didn't have. Nowadays you can get your stuff can get like pulled immediately. You can get like I'm talking videos, channels, whatever. You can be, depending on the social media type. Like if we're talking other stuff, you can get like your account ghosted, where you're just posting, you have no idea who's seeing it, and your discovery gets stunted. Like clever techniques to kind of silence you. And they didn't really have all that high speed stuff back then. It was just like these really long email chains with people in California that were like at YouTube, and it'd mostly be harassment. Like I've always most of the time, I either use like music that's in Commons,
Sure,
because it's so something, or I write my own music. So they would like force me to like they wanted to see like project bones and stuff for like the build files for the DAW that I was using for the software for writing the music and stuff. But this is in like 2012. The channel was really small. Like I want to say at that time when I was going through this, it was probably at like 10,000 subscribers or something, which is like very small. Like, even back then, it's an extremely small like YouTube channel to be getting harassed, right?
Sure.
Like, usually it's seeing that like a way bigger magnitude. And so it was just really odd, but I didn't really think too much into it. And then when I started to see like in 2014, 2015, that's when you started to see consolidated and parallel censorship across the social media platforms. And as soon as I recognized like the techniques of censorship and realized that they were the same, then it was like, immediately I knew two things. Number one, that these are the same people, because they're communicating, you know what I mean? And so they're sharing their protocol for how they're going to use censorship. And that's why they're all the same. And they rolled that out within like months of each other, so it was practically at the same time. And when I saw that, it, like I always had like a sense of where this whole thing was going, but like not having like practical consequence in the, prior to this, it didn't really make that much sense to worry about it. And then like as soon as I started seeing that, I realized that, like my fans are all from the old YouTube channel. They're just genuine dudes and dudettes, American American.
Yeah, I hear you.
They are going to the channel to like alleviate the tension of the world. You know what I mean? Like that's like what it did. It was like a surreal, very niche and surreal, just like, homegrown media production.
Yeah, that channel was popular as hell, by the way. Mike, he had a very, very popular channel.
Yeah, you were telling me, yeah.
Yeah, it was badass, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and it's kind of a weird thing because it's mostly centered, so it's heavily centered around firearms and like military humor, and that just comes from my background from being prior service in Army.
Yeah.
But
thank you for your service, by the way.
Yeah, no doubt.
But the channel was like I had this constant conflict where it was like, YouTube and vendors that are like broadly associated with whatever, like they always want you to push products, which I've never done. I never did that once, and mostly I did it once for like a video that I actually didn't release, but I really liked the product, and that was the only reason why. But the I was never into that, getting pushed into that monetization model, because it just didn't feel right. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like what the project was about. And so it was always a struggle to, like, figure out how I'm gonna keep it going and pay for it. But beyond that, once the censorship started, then that was kind of like my threshold, because the audience is watching in good faith of entertainment. And so when you get on there and continue to make entertainment but don't address the serious social issues, then it's akin to saying that everything's fine, and telling people to just go to sleep. And so that was like my ultimate conflict, and the material wasn't really suitable to transition into that. And so, like, at least at that time, at least that in my judgment. And so that is ultimately the reason that I got out of it. And then I just watched and studied and read books since then, like, trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. And that realization and the development since about 2016 ended up, like, pushing me on a wave back into, like, coming back and not really caring about the consequences, just trying to promote truth.
For sure, for sure. And did YouTube give you a notice, or did they just yank your channel right away? What happened?
Oh, no. I pulled the channel.
Or you pulled the channel?
I pulled the channel, and I didn't give any explanation. I just pulled it, quit. I pretty much, I kill all the social media. I left Twitter on because I forgot my password to sign in to lead the Twitter. But
you pulled it. You pulled it Larry Silverstein style.
Yeah, pretty much. and then when I came back, like, I was looking around and I was like, man, I'm gonna have to, like, I want to start warning people, and I didn't really know how I was gonna do it. And so like, I was like, well, shit, I burned all these social media channels that had, like, huge followings. So I was like, well, I can make a new one. And I was like, oh, Twitter, I still got that. And then it took me like a week to figure out how to figure out my password, and I finally figured it out, and then got back in there, and then I saved it to the phone so I wouldn't forget it.
Very nice. And of course, we are listening to Tom Cruise, boys and girls, right now.
Yeah, that's right. This is Tom Cruise. Yeah, this is Tom. Absolutely.
Yeah, you really do look like Tom right now. Now that I'm looking at your photograph here in the chat room, you look like Tom Cruise in the movie American Made.
I hear Koresh a lot more.
Yeah, well, you kind of do have that. That's a pretty good gimmick as well.
Or Nick Cage. I heard Nick Cage a lot when I was first starting, which I didn't really see the similarity, but I think it's like certain mannerisms are similar.
Amazing.
Maybe Nick Cage might be my cousin, my lost cousin. Nick, if you're listening to this, hit me up, brother.
Hit him up. Yeah, give him a call.
We'll go out to dinner.
Well, it's kind of ridiculous, though, the censorship that's going on right now with YouTube. They've taken a pretty radical stance on certain topics. The fact that guns are not something that can be really permitted by YouTube standards, but breast exams and implants and breastfeeding and child grooming videos and strippers and drag queens
and snuff films
all is fine. But channels about guns, they usually sort of go away.
Yeah. Oh, that's what we call socialization.
It's insane.
You guys do realize why this is happening. I mean, we've got so many snowflakes that are involved in as part of the new millennials who are working for places such as I want to say like YouTube and a lot of the social media programs. So you got all these people who take great offense to the slightest thing, and therefore if it doesn't fit their narrative, they want to take you off, because if it doesn't offend them, it's going to offend somebody else.
Yeah. Now, Mike, that's like what you're describing is the perspective from individuals that support the control paradigm. But like, if we want to talk about what's really going on like the bigger scale, we have to like expand out of that, because it's really what's going on is that you're getting an integration of media with like a super state structure that's both the United States and like global. That's what's really going on.
Yeah,
I'm afraid. I just hope the internet doesn't end up being like China, all locked down and restricted.
Yeah, I mean, it might. I mean, it's judging on the pace that it's going so far, it looks like that's where it's going eventually.
Indeed. And now that I brought up China, what do you make of the whole pandemic, Doug?
As it relates to China?
Well, everything in general. It's just a thought.
Yeah. So the first thing that's critical to understand is that for COVID to jump, COVID's a long known thing that is a canine associated virus, right?
Right.
And the jump from canine to human is something that is necessarily engineered. So that's the first thing to understand, that the media doesn't want to talk about or acknowledge, because it has significant implications that require answers. You know what I mean? Like you can't really bring it up or think about it or acknowledge it without being like, well, why the fuck is anybody jumping COVID from canines to humans in the first place? And that's really like at the crux of the whole thing, and what they really don't want to talk about. And the whole entire escapade of COVID getting in the United States certainly appears to be like 100% on purpose. There's
it seems that way.
Yeah. And the entire I don't even know where to start, but like I guess we'll start with the beginning.
Yeah.
So you had CDC employees that were getting pulled out of Wuhan like up to 2 months, as close as 2 months prior to the release of the virus. So they were getting like an international CDC employee like stationed in Wuhan, and they were getting pulled under the guise of budget cuts like 2 months. And so they had like a 2 month like buffer window to disassociate with the labs. Then you get fucking COVID-19 popping up, and then let's see, once it reaches the United States and you get like the initial press conferences from the executive cabinet, that's when you get like the stuff that's like, it's my favorite part about the analysis of it, because you had like the initial reports of like Google building a worldwide tracking system on it, to track COVID. And then you had CDC posted what they call what's going on now, which is seroprevalence testing, which is like serology testing. Now, the significance of those two things are that the Google worldwide database program that they were going to try to supposedly set up, that then they later denied because it was through a Google subsidiary. So they tried to make it look like it was like, no, these are just like college students, bro. Like they're just writing this stuff in their dorm or whatever. Like it's no big deal. Don't worry about it. And Google made a website that looked like somebody punched it out like while they were hungover or something. I mean, it was like various fonts that were huge. It wasn't formatted correctly, so you had like stringing text where it like ran, like where one word, you have like one word, then paragraph, then like one word paragraph for like 100 words. Just like a very disjointed website that was made by Google. And then it's like you have to like realistically deduce and analyze this, and we're talking about Google, and they have like state of the art engineers that work there. And so like, you better believe that they can punch out a ridiculously clean website within 12 hours.
No, absolutely.
And so this is like they're it's very likely, I'll say, like you don't know for sure, but it seems very likely that they were like considering how the public was going to view it, and they wanted to make it look like everything was just an emergency and everybody's just trying to catch up and figure out what's going on. And so they put out this like really pathetic website for that. And then you get the CDC seroprevalence testing program. The description of it goes up almost immediately. And so this is the seroprevalence serology tests are testing blood for reaction, the antibodies in blood for reaction to a virus. They don't actually detect COVID-19, and they are they're somewhat inconclusive. Like they really don't give a lot of data. But what they do, which is 100% doo-doo, yeah. They pull blood samples. So you're getting blood samples, and that's through the CLIA certification of labs, which are like all the labs through the United States. that have CLIA certification do require at least an on paper like sample result,
Right.
like the actual analysis of it, the data, like the actual juicy data that tells you like what the person is. At least that has to be sent, but there may even be there is a possibility, although it's very guarded and we can't figure it out. Like I've tried to get people to look into this, but I'm pretty sure that they're doing their initial antibody tests and then they're maintaining the samples and sending them to like a centralized place, probably in California. And they're probably selling them.
Most likely, yeah. I was just about to say that they're probably even slanging those things out there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oof.
And it's a big problem. It's one of the biggest problems in the United States that the American public hasn't caught on to is DNA security, and it's a massive problem. And we've kind of gone beyond the point of no return where we can't put the genie back in the bottle because it's been going on for so long. And like the latest measures would be the serology tests that the government is now pushing through. Individual municipalities and localities, but that's all of them are centralized under the CDC, under Department of Health and Human Services. And they're just like reflagging them as like a local thing. Like you can go to this hospital, this local hospital, and they're doing the test. It's not actually like a CDC employee doing it, but they're turning them into the CDC, and the CDC is consolidating them. And this is all the same as it's the same shit as like within the last, I don't know, 4 years or so, you started to see reports of like particularly I remember like Philadelphia, you had like unmarked vans. These are like NGOs I'm not talking like the CIA or something like that. I'm just saying there are medical private organizations that are going into urbanite low income neighborhoods, and then they're just like setting up a table in a park and then collecting blood samples and just paying people cash, and then you've got like 23andMe and like ancestry.com and all that stuff, all of these things that are soliciting.
Yeah, why would you submit your info to those people?
That's the whole thing.
I've always thought
just don't know.
Yeah, why would you want to do that? Why give your blood, your DNA? Why even unlock your phone with your fingerprint as well? Now that we're talking about fingerprints here as well.
I'm a little confused. When they're what are they asking for blood for people who need it?
No, they're pulling DNA. Like they are taking blood samples from the general public in a private capacity where the municipality doesn't even know what's going. Like they're not even giving municipalities foresight. They're just showing up and literally setting up a box and wearing like they're wearing like a reflective vest. So they look like they're supposed to be there, and then they're just it's just a private general health and human services related company that is going into low income neighborhoods and pulling and like buying blood samples from the general population.
And do they give an explanation as to why they are accepting the blood samples? And also, how does this affect us if they're collecting DNA? How does that affect us?
Well, that's kind of, we don't really know what we do, what is suspected, what I suspect. I believe that currently there is a giant database, and I believe that the purpose of the database, all these things have crossover. So like the 23andMe, that's the YouTube CEO, that gal, her sister is the 23andMe founder, and then you've got like Bill Gates is doing his own stuff, and they're all connected, and they're tied in through the like ACMG, which is like the American College of Medicine and Genetics or something like that. ACMG, which is doing, they kind of go hand in hand with the APA, American Pediatrics Association, that sets up the newborn blood screening, which is like the standard blood screening for PKU in hospitals. But all that, like that's manufactured, the PKU sample test that's been going on since like the 1960s is manufactured by Bayer, and Bayer like bogarted and stole it from the creator, which is this guy named Robert Guthrie. and he did it just based on like he he knew somebody that had PKU, which is actually it's an incredibly, I mean, it's a very serious metabolism issue with newborn babies that can have extreme consequences, but it's the rate of prevalence is like 1 in 25,000 for certain populations. It's like the average is like 1 in 20,000 to 1 in 25,000. So it's extremely rare, but every single baby that gets born in a hospital in the United States, since probably like the 80s, like it took them a couple decades to get rolled out nationwide and now globally. And they're pulling like all those blood samples they're taken to hospitals are being tested for PKU, which is like the cover story. And then they're being sold through like ACMG and blood banks that are private through basically like foundations or 501c3s. And they're all the same people. It's like the same approximate group of about like 1,000 people through the United States. And each state has a board, and they really guard the shit and try to make it look official, so people don't ask questions. But you've had some major lawsuits, particularly like Texas. Like Texas had a lawsuit involving like 1 million samples that got unknowingly sold for, a genetic database overseas. And it's such a big deal. Like the only country that I know of that has really like keyed up on this is Russia. So Russia put out a nationwide order maybe 3 years ago, where they have like a total lockdown and ban on, or outside organizations coming into Russia and like setting up shop, because they had a big problem, particularly in Ukraine, where you were having these like pop-up labs that would get established like right outside of Russia. And then they were like, going into Russia and then kind of doing the whole Philadelphia model where they were, trying to solicit blood samples for people in the Caucasus. And so what it looks like, that was like a long way to say that what it really appears is happening is that you're getting the index book, like the catalog, the map of human DNA, and it seems like the purpose is for weaponization, like DNA weapons.
Interesting. And of course, you mentioned Bill Gates earlier, and that's another interesting character. We've seen him sort of befriend very interesting individuals out there, exchange money with very interesting figures, one being Jeffrey Epstein, to name one. And
yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, Bill Gates is super interesting. His mom was actually working at IBM, before him, and she was actually, so like IBM, they were involved in like lots of stuff with the Holocaust and shit like that, and like the census. So like the census that they did in 1939 for Poland and Germany, that would have been through like supplied through they use the same machines as like the Cincinnati census, like punch card machines and shit.
Right.
And that's all like IBM.
Very unusual. By the way, I'm just curious. Are you going to take his vaccine, by the way, Doug, once it gets rolled out?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the 7-Eleven and get a big gulp. I'm gonna dump that shit out, and I'm gonna go get the vax and fill it up to the brim. Ice.
That's the spirit.
Straw.
Yeah,
curly straw.
I wouldn't suggest anyone taking anything from Bill Gates. That's for sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's really dumb.
It's pretty weird.
It's weird that he's like the trusted one now. He's like our messiah now for all this information, rather, that he's putting out there.
Not my messiah.
Oh, of course not. He's worshipped as one now by the media.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously like he's kind of being he's being supported into that position to kind of project that to the public as being the smart rich tech guy.
Yeah,
I definitely
smart
would not.
Rich tech guy, not smart rich vaccine inventor. I mean, what the hell does he know about vaccines?
I don't even believe in him, honestly.
Oh, I don't. I certainly don't. I know Michael doesn't either.
Well, I'm not very anti-vax, but then again, I'm not very supportive of vaccines either.
I'm just not supportive of a vaccine coming from a guy who works on computers, making Microsoft.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I think there's like all the way down to just the basic morality of human beings' purpose and the intricate creation that we live in. It's I just don't see, it seems like it's not really the area of operations of man to be playing with that kind of stuff. It doesn't seem very sincere in terms of it seems very predating.
He seems pretty creepy at the end of the day. Anytime he's talking about COVID-19 and vaccines, there's this weird look on his face, like a ghoul almost.
He's always got a weird look on his face. He's a weird looking character. He's just funny looking.
Has a weird dude and has a weird looking wife too.
I wonder what kind of stuff do you think? Have you ever seen him get excited in an interview? Like, what kind of stuff makes Bill Gates excited?
That's a good question.
A naked computer.
Computer. Yeah, if you just like pull off the console cover of a PC tower or something like that,
he gets off.
He sees all the inside. Yeah.
Yeah, he sees like the wires and all the tubes and chips, and he's like, oh.
It probably.
Not far off.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. That wife of his sure looks like a guy.
I haven't seen his wife.
You haven't seen his wife?
She sounds like a beautiful woman, though.
Well, that's not the way I would describe her. That's for sure. Hell, I've seen a few. I've seen a few quick pop-ups of even transsexuals that look better looking than his wife, Melinda Gates.
Whoa, careful there, careful.
I'm being honest.
Calm down.
Calm down, Gary. But no, I mean, Melinda Gates looks like a guy. I gotta be honest here. Can you see the chat room, by the way, Doug?
I don't think so. Let's see.
I was gonna say, if you pull up the live chat right now, I'll pull up a photo of her and you can see her for yourself.
Okay, let's see.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, I'm gonna look for a photo of her, Melinda Gates, and I apologize to all the homely-looking women out there. I'm sorry you look that way. But yes, Melinda Gates, very strange looking appearance on that face. That looks like a guy to me. I'm not sure why. No offense to the transsexuals out there. I'm not looking down at you. You can live it any way you want. I'm just making that observation. Don't get mad at me.
Ducks that look like ducks or ducks.
Exactly. You're right.
Well put.
Exactly. Well put. And now I'm going to put that photograph here and be careful, boys. This is not going to be pretty for you.
Glad I can't see the chat room.
I know. I'm glad you can't see that, Mike. It might burn your eyes.
I might fall right off my chair.
That's true.
I don't see.
Just updated right now. There's Bill Gates and there's Melinda Gates right next to him. Should take a little bit.
Not have the chat. Is it where you put the link?
There you go.
Okay, I don't have it yet. Maybe my phone's slow. Maybe they're jamming my signal here.
They're jamming you. Oy vey.
Here with a spark plug in there. He's over here firing off in the bushes over here.
Yeah, you live in a pretty interesting area, Doug.
Yeah. I'm actually, you know where I live? I'm on the I can tell you this because this will give you an azimuth, but good fucking luck finding me. I'm actually on the heading of the landing heading for the B-2 bombers.
Oh, so okay.
I have B-2s fly pretty much like I have a view of the underside of a B-2 pretty much probably like every other day, and they usually fly in like 2s or 4s.
You sound like me now. I live by a naval facility out here where the Blue Angels train, and that's actually where Donald Trump landed when he came out here to a little city called Calexico, California. There's a naval facility out here, and nonstop you hear helicopters and jets, like every 20 minutes, basically.
Now, the most interesting place that I've lived would have been, for the Army, they have Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And I was there, I did my TRADOC time there, for like training soldiers in the United States. And I I rented a house that was out the south gate. And for anybody that is familiar with Fort Leonard Wood, like the north gate of Fort Leonard Wood is like, highways and, kind of what you would expect for a military base off of a highway, a major highway. But on the south side of the gate, we're talking Texas County, Missouri. So there's like nothing there. Like, there's trees, and ticks, and that's about it. And so like the house that I rented, like after I was in there I think I got it during the winter, and then as soon as the spring came around, it's about 10 miles away from the A10 cannon range, like the impact range for all the A10s in this region, like other than the west. And so like they fly in there every month, and then you just you'll just be going about your business, and then you're gonna hear a brrr,
Right.
and then you're gonna listen to it several times, and then your dishes are also gonna listen to it a few times.
Yeah, Mike lives way out there as well. You look pretty secluded out there, don't you, Mike?
Oh yeah, I'm in Pennsylvania. I live in a gated community in the woods, and
Lucky
very
you.
secluded.
Yeah, you're like a hermit out there.
Yeah, pretty much. It's become that way, and I don't get any visitors. Nobody comes to visit me.
How lovely, though.
mostly.
No one bothering you. I think that's great.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a little boring sometimes when you're trying to figure out what to do.
That's right. And by the way, Doug and Mike, now I have updated the image in the chat room, and oof, that looks like Robin Williams in a wig. It's bad. Like Miss Doubtfire.
I don't have an image here. I've got your link, and that's it. But I can pretend like I have the image.
You
Like, I can do a
pretend.
pretend.
Well, that works too. Just think of
You
a
gotta go.
cokehead in
You
a
gotta go.
wig.
What?
Oh, now I feel bad for what I just said. I said, imagine a cokehead in a wig. No disrespect to.
No offense to all you cokeheads out there.
No offense to Robin Williams, who's dead.
I
Dead
thought
boy.
you were doing a gig on me there.
I know.
Hey, have you guys heard that there is going to be curfews in, I believe, Denver and Los Angeles?
No, there's a curfew. Yeah, there's a curfew going on right now, and I'm glad you brought that up. Another point of interest that we do need to talk about, and I'm glad you mentioned it. We are seeing all these riots right now breaking out all over America, and I, of course, don't agree with what's taking place. These people hurting small businesses out there, and of course, there is a problem with corporate corruption, sure, but destroying these properties, it's not going to accomplish anything, really. That's probably going to drive taxes for those folks that live in those cities. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Doug and Mike, go ahead. Your thoughts and opinions on all the riots that are going on. And of course, Doug, we will talk about the Umbrella Man as we go along.
If I may, real quick.
Jump in there, Mike. Yeah, go ahead.
Before I don't want to cut off Doug, but the interesting thing is I had mentioned to Michael before the show is that I also read that in North Carolina, a Caucasian deaf man was shot by a police officer and killed.
Yeah.
Apparently unarmed. I think he was speeding. And I that's all I have. I don't have like any super details, but so if I may, I'm gonna tilt the conversation a bit here and say, so now this guy who's Caucasian gets shot and killed. The people who are rioting now because it's a racist thing where a white police officer obviously killed Mr. Floyd. I don't agree with it. I think it was wrong. I think it was terrible. But nevertheless, it's become a racist thing.
It became one from these people. You're right, Mike.
Right. So my point is this: with the policeman who shot the Caucasian deaf man,
mm-hmm.
Where's the outrage for that?
You probably just didn't hear him.
Touche, Doug. Good one.
Touche. Well done.
The riots are, it's terrible, right? And the curfew is terrible. I think that, if they're going to have a curfew with a bedtime, they better pass out like little milk cartons, and that would probably alleviate any of the stress.
That's
You
right.
know? You gotta have milk before bedtime.
That's true. But there's no
Well,
outrage. I know what you mean, though, Mike.
that's what and it happens all too often. Like for example, I was the victim of a racist attack in 2012. I was jumped by three blood. Now, before I get into this, please, people, whoever's listening out there, don't take this the wrong way. Just try to understand from my point of view.
How do you know it was a race-motivated attack, though, Mike?
Because they called me every name in the book.
But I call you
White.
Cracker all the time.
I know you do, but when I'm getting hit with
Sorry.
like kicked
Yes.
and punched with by people,
Right.
they knocked my front teeth out. I'm lucky I came away with this little.
Yeah, that's true, Mike. You're lucky you're not dead. You're lucky they didn't amputate your feet and leave you for dead there.
Right. So, I mean, I was just minding my business. I got out of my car. Three of them just started calling me names: white boy, faggot, cracker, homo. They even called me like Dracula.
They called you Dracula.
Black. Yeah, because I got that I had long hair. I had I just got a look, a very gothic look. So they called me Dracula, and this all went on like within like a 10-second period. And I'm walking to my destination, and they're just going at it, and I'm like, is there a problem? Is there a problem? Do I know you? Did I start trouble with you in the past? Like, who are you? Why are you starting with me? That's when the trouble started. They get up, they come at me, and they surround me, and they're like, oh, you're a tough guy, right? Tough guy. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Meanwhile, every other house, where there were people sitting outside, which, it was a primarily all black neighborhood. And it was Patterson. That's where Patterson, New Jersey. That's where I was born and raised and went to school and so on and so forth. And nobody did a goddamn thing. And they beat my ass down. And the last thing I remember was getting kneed in the face.
Hardcore.
I was up against a car, like trying to protect myself from these guys punching and kicking me. And as I was down, somebody just kneed me right in the face, knocked my teeth out. That's when I thought they broke my nose.
It doesn't feel good, right, Mike, when you get kneed?
No way, man.
Oh, I've been clinched. I've been clinched many times and hit on the ribs and in the head a couple times. That shit hurts like a mother.
Especially in the head, because your brain gets knocked around and you kind of lose it for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I went down, and when I went down, that's when they backed off, and they were like, they just walked away, and nobody that was sitting around did a goddamn thing. They just sat there like, oh, white boy in the wrong place at the right time. And I'm like, you know what? That's fucked up. That's fucked up.
They let powder to die.
So this is it's a racial thing. So I'm assuming I'm gonna make the assumption that we're talking about you got jumped by black guys. Is that what we're talking about?
Three
blacks.
You got mugged.
Oh, and they mugged you?
No, I wasn't mugged. They didn't mug anything. You. They just simply said I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. They didn't like the fact that I was white, and they just beat me up.
You were on their turf, so they whipped that ass.
Right, and like I said, I was born and raised in Patterson. I was there for a very long time in my life, and
right.
Like I didn't deserve that. I at the time, I that's when I completely I stopped. Mr. Ashley, you don't know, but my past, I was a politically correct liberal Democrat, and it was at that point where I gave it up completely.
Well, maybe. You think there's a possibility that these could have been like philanthropic black dentists?
Possibly. You could be right. Yeah, it could be right.
And then they were it was all pro bono because they didn't even require any money for the services. They didn't
That's true.
Yeah, they didn't take my wallet or anything. All I'm saying is this: when I had this issue, nobody jumped to my rescue. Nobody stepped up and said,
sure,
black racism.
No one rioted for your behalf.
So it's been very difficult for me to see how everybody seems to bend towards the white racism against black people, and I'm like, wait a minute, I was viciously attacked, and it was black on white, and nobody said shit about my circumstance.
Well, that's kind of the way that it works. It's kind of a like now. You've got, it's quite a long rotation of musical chairs for like who's selected to be like the minority victim and who is the majority oppressor. But it does go like on rotation, and it's subject to location, right? Like, so if you were in Africa, then you're going to be minority. You know what I mean? And it does, like, over time, over the decades, like one minority group will be more will be in the musical chair special spot, and then it does kind of like rotate around. Like sometimes it'll be sometimes nobody cares about transgenders, and then other times you are not going to stop hearing about it in on television or whatever. And then you would think, from the prevalence of how many times you hear about it, you would think that like half the population is transgender.
That's right.
Well, that's it's a part of the program. You know what I mean? Like it's a part of this musical chair game.
I get that, and my biggest frustration is that I was born and raised in Paterson, New Jersey, and it's the predominant ethnic group of people there are Afro Americans. Actually, the first ethnic group there is Latino.
Wait a minute. Where are we talking about again? Sorry.
Patterson, New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay, I thought there would be a bunch of Italians right there.
No. Maybe about 100 years ago.
You like the way I said that, by the way, Mike? Italians.
The Italians.
There you
yes.
go.
Oi.
Isn't that Irish?
Say again?
Isn't that an Irish place?
Patterson?
Is it? No.
No. Now it's primarily Latino and Black. But at one point in time, back in the probably throughout the late 1800s into the mid 1900s, around 1960, 1970, when the riots were taking place in Newark and Patterson, it began to change, and the Italians and the Irish began to move out because Patterson was the silk capital of the world at one point. There were more silk mills in Patterson than there were in China, and it was producing more silk. But that's a whole other story. So as time has gone by, all the people who were working in the mills and eventually they all moved out, and it became more of a ghetto, which is one of the reasons I moved out, because it just got worse and worse. Now it's a fucking war zone. It's just like a heroin capital of New Jersey. Just you cannot walk down any street at night because you will get killed. So what was I trying to say? I mean, all I'm saying is that I it was my town when I was young. I knew everything about that town.
I know that feel.
I come back. I was doing business in 2012, and I got hammered for being who I am.
There goes the neighborhood.
For 26 years, I stood politically correct and liberal and democratic, so that I would stand up for minorities and do the right thing. And then I get my ass handed to me because I'm white.
Mike, let's be fair.
I don't like that.
Let's be fair, Mike. You are a minority now.
Oh yes, I understand that.
You're an
which is
Italian
why
now.
I left the cities of New Jersey. I couldn't be a part of it anymore because people were, I got picked on all the time.
You're not even considered Caucasian anymore, Mike.
Say again?
I said the Italians, they're not even considered Caucasian anymore.
What are they considered?
I don't even know. I can't say that word here.
Oh,
That's a forbidden word.
Wops.
Yeah, wops. That's true. You greasy wops. That's right.
It's all the olive oil.
There you go.
Man, I got a good sense of humor. I can laugh about my race and my ethnic background as well as other people's, and it doesn't bother me because you know what? You got to be able to laugh about.
Got
things.
to. That's right.
If you're gonna take heart to it, then then you should shut the fuck up and stop being a friggin' snowflake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we see social media running everything now.
Yeah.
Your Twitter. What's trending? That's what matters here in America now.
Yeah, and it's a very cued, it's almost like the sensitivity and is like, if you really look at it, if you pull out and go to the bird's eye view, what we're talking about is a really effective way to make populations self-censor, you know. And it's really not even about, like, we view it as like, you know, an issue of sensitivity, like, well, am I not sensitive enough? Am I too overt? Am I, you know, where do I need to stand on this to like not offend people? And it just changes all the time. And that's because that's not the point of it. The point of it is to control language and discussion. And it's just another part of socialization. You know what I mean? Like that's what's really going on here. Because the reality is that, like, as much as the media would lead one to believe that, you know, blacks in the United States are in a vulnerable, you know, minority vulnerable position and disenfranchised, which is what the media would have you believe. The reality is that the people that are saying that in the media, that are painting that picture, don't give a shit about black people.
Amen.
And if I may add, I'm tired. I am sick and effing tired of hearing about how the black race is suppressed. There are guys in sports, music, and politics who make more money than I will ever see in my lifetime, and I'm supposed to believe they're oppressed. We had a black president, for Christ's sake. I mean, where's the oppression? Basketball players, football players, baseball players who are black are making $1 million, $2 million a year.
Well, not anymore. Not with COVID-19. Not with COVID.
Okay, all right.
Not anymore.
It's fine, but before all that hit the fan.
Sure,
I mean,
I hear you.
Where's the oppression? Where is the oppression? Black president, black general, attorney general, black mayors, black governors. Where's the oppression? In every, you know, all music is primarily, you know, black today, you know, because it's all rap and hip hop.
By the way,
R&B.
Mike, just in case anyone out there is wondering if perhaps you're kind of getting off on a racist rant, I just want people to remember that you actually played in a band with a black gentleman for several years.
He's still my best friend.
Exactly.
He is my best friend.
I don't want people
That's
to think like you're a racist or anything.
No, Jeff and
I wanted to remind everybody that Mike is a black Italian.
He's a black Italian. He's a black Italian.
Black Italian. That sounds like some kind of a racehorse.
I wanted to put in a caveat because I understand exactly what you're saying, and in a sense I completely agree. In another sense, I think there's a bigger picture in that I do think that blacks are disenfranchised, but it's not the way that the MSM says. Like, It's not the way that the government narrative paints it. The way that they are disenfranchised and you know, have you know, power of identity taken away is by being the pivot point to you know, build the arguments of you know, pitting people against each other in the United States. And that is a very
no doubt.
Yeah, look at Jesse. Look at Jesse Jackson. You're absolutely correct. By the way, these people, they incite these sort of issues.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I may just finish on that conversation, I was saying, I wanted to follow up on what Michael said about my bandmate Jeff Austin being a black guy. I love Jeff. He's one of my best friends. He's a decent, nice guy.
Right.
He served in the military. One of the greatest guitarists I ever knew. I talked to him just about every other. Well, not maybe talked to him, but we text each other at least every other day. And he's the nicest guy ever. And you know, I'm not racist. I'm not.
Go ahead, Doug. Jump in there.
I believe you. It was convincing.
Well, you know, it is what it is. I just wanted to make sure people understood where I'm coming from, because, like Michael said, it sounded like a rant, but you know, like a racist rant, but it's not. It's really not. I've had black friends all my life.
I strong feeling there's probably black dudes watching this that know exactly what the fuck you're talking about. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that there's people that understand where you're coming from there that are black.
Okay.
No, black Italian.
Black.
That's right. So, Doug, I got to ask you, in your opinion about this gentleman that we have seen plastered all over social media, the one that they are accusing of being perhaps a police officer or a Fed, what you know him as, Umbrella Man. What's your take on this gentleman, by the way, Doug?
Yeah, so we actually we're in our second day. We're actually doing an investigation, a private investigation. It's not really easily accessible, but it's a group, it's an open source investigation. And we're trying to put together as much data points as we can right now while the trail is hot, so that we can at least have all the information archived, because you've got some serious shit going on right now in the United States. And the situation with the Umbrella Man is that so for people that are unaware of this, in Minneapolis, you get the initial riot engagement between police shooting tear gas and protesters burning down shit and breaking shit, and that kind of all started with a guy named Umbrella Man, who's a guy pretty much completely covered. So he's got a gas mask on. He's got gloves, long sleeves, long pants, and a hood, and an umbrella. And then he walks around smashing out windows at the AutoZone on camera. That's where people pick this up from a live stream. Is this guy diligently walking up to the AutoZone windows and just going straight down the line? I mean, it's like he's getting paid to do it. It's like it's his job.
Yeah, that behavior, Doug, by the way, the way he was acting, you could sort of tell that this was not like your regular sort of a protester, not a young, looting, rioting, having fun sort of guy there. This was someone that had clear intentions and had purpose in what he was trying to accomplish.
Very particular.
Word.
Like, I mean, he's on a mission. Like, it's
right.
And you can definitely tell from his demeanor,
right,
in flow of how he's moving, and his focus on like what he's doing. He's not hesitant or like afraid and looking over his shoulder or anything like that. He's just like, hi ho diddle diddle up the middle. Let's break these fucking AutoZone windows.
Word. He was calculated, Doug.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah. So then what happened next was like you got initial unsubstantiated reports that were kind of like people's gut feeling when they saw the video. They're like, when you watch the video, you can obviously tell that something's a little off here. So immediately you get a lot of like, this guy's a cop, So then what happened was you had a matchup between a close, screen grab from the live stream at a period where he's like close to the guy live streaming on the phone. So somebody pulled an image off that, and then they found, I don't really know where it came from, but you have a police officer out of Minnesota that is they know his name, and so they did like a comparison photo, and it's like a meme that got put out on or like a warning, it got put out on social media, and it spread around really quickly. And immediately, so you had the denial from the police department there,
mm-hmm.
and that was the public relations officer, and they stated that they're aware of the accusation and that they've substantiated his alibi, and it's 100%. But they don't say what the alibi is, of course. So what happened next is really interesting. Within 4 hours to 12 hours after that video got circulated, you had kind of like the all of your second tier MSM, like not the big MSM, which is important to know because the Umbrella Man video is very, we're talking about something that's taken off of like live streamers, so this is kind of like, this isn't like a MSM level event. Like,
right.
MSM isn't really interested in covering it. This is an underground type thing, but it spread around really quickly. And then you had immediately within 4 hours, I saw at least, it would have been early yesterday morning.
Yeah.
I saw like 7, as soon as I started searching for the like supposed officer that this was supposed to be, there were 7 second tier MSM articles, very clearly short and sweet, saying this is not the Umbrella Man. And then each one of the articles is sourced back to the public relations officer. So they're citing the office that the police department that he comes from, which is the only statement this is from. So it's not the denial isn't definitive because it certainly appears. I mean, he's got facial features that are very similar, and
Oh
so,
yeah, you look at his eyes; it looks just like him.
Yeah, I had
yeah,
sent this. I think I sent you an article right about this, Mike. And in that article, there's the ex-wife
Right.
exchanging text messages confirming that it is him. But it's an ex-wife. Is she telling the truth? You never know.
Right.
right, yeah, you don't know the my position. So I try to put myself in the PD with the issues over since like 2012 that police have had in terms of just public relations with the general public, and it's like with the steps that the police take as you know entities to defend their own like usefulness in society. I would be, if I was that PR guy, I would be highly motivated to take an approach that was like very transparent, especially when you have like widespread accusation like that, and you have like visual image comparison that
Right.
a normal person is going to look at it, even if it's not like, let's say that they have nothing to do with each other at all. The images are so close that you'd have to take, like, the PR guy should be taking that into consideration and going like, obviously anybody that looks at this is going to think this is the same guy, and so if it's not really him, then they should be taking the extra step to like fucking produce documents of whatever the alibi is, because just saying that there's an alibi and it's for need to know basis only, you don't need to know, that is not going to go over very well, because if they didn't notice it, you've got people getting fucking killed in the streets and fucking buildings getting burned down.
That's
So
right.
it's not very responsible, you know what I mean, which then lends more probable likelihood that that this is in fact something nefarious going on.
Most likely true. Is the cop the umbrella man? We don't know for sure. Have cops been involved in riots before? Yeah, no shit. If you look back in 2014, there was an undercover officer who pulled out a gun during the Oakland protest, Oakland protesters out there when they were protesting after his cover was blown, if I recall correctly. Plainclothes California Highway Patrol officer, if I recall, walked among demonstrators, and that's when he pulled out his gat and threatened to, fucking blow everyone away.
Wiggity whack, y'all.
That's right. So this happened in Oakland, California, by the way, Mike.
Say again?
This did happen in Oakland, California a couple years back. There's this cop. Once his cover was blown, he got very angry, and that's when he pulled out that gun. So, I mean, it is possible that for sure this could be the cop, no doubt.
Yeah. Now, what I will tell you that's 100% for sure that we found in researching this shit. So you had so what's going on right now is way bigger scale than what anybody wants to acknowledge. But you basically, it's extremely likely that there are private organizations that are coordinating these riots, because they are. I don't know where they're at now. Last night at about 3 a.m., we had confirmation with like people on location, imagery confirmation of 29 riots in 29 different cities across the United States taking place simultaneously.
Yeah, that's not normal, Doug.
No, that's not normal. So this is a destabilization operation that is probably private. Like it's probably not the government in most cases. There's probably, I'm sure that in so many places there's probably government involvement in certain cases. Now, one of the things that we did see in investigating this was the DC protest, where you had a video of a man. He was holding a cell phone. He was leaving the protest location, and then he saw like a black Chevy Suburban, and he sees a guy get out of the vehicle and start walking away, and then he asks the guy like who he is, and the guy says he's with CNN. Ooh. And then he turns around and goes back to the vehicle where the guy came out of, and then there are two gentlemen sitting in there with the windows rolled down, and then he asks them who you guys were, or he starts off asking like, where's the protest at, like which direction is it, to try to get some information, and then they kind of give him the shrug, and then he says, are you guys CNN? And they're like, no, we're not CNN. And then he says, oh, well, your buddy said you're CNN. Then he asks them if they're cops. They deny being cops, and then he goes back around the back and shoots, films their license plates. So from the plate, we determine it's Department of Commerce plate out of DC, which is that's Treasury Department. So that's Secret Service is what's going on. So it's Secret Service, like sending people into the protest. Now, the reason for that could be a lot of things. Like they could just be doing like reconnaissance for security, like as protocol for defending the White House. But it could also be something rogue from the Treasury Department. We don't know, like nobody knows. But it is like this is definitely what I'm trying to say is that what you're describing is going on. We just don't know why it's going on.
Right, and like you mentioned earlier, a few moments ago rather, how quickly these protests broke out is also something that was really beginning to make me wonder. Obviously, these things were organized by someone out there. You have various factions involved yet again. Several weeks back, I mentioned that none of these protests that you see on television are never organic. They are always set up by a think tank, a focus group. Group, by the way, of sort, a focus group of sort, as they are often referred to in show business, by the way. And you got possibly a cops or feds, and of course you got the Antifa element out there as well. And you mentioned the Soros word, and of course you mentioned Doug, the NGOs as well. That's the non-government organizations, and I'm sure you might even have some DoD gentlemen out there on foot, on location. It makes me wonder, it doesn't make me wonder, it should make you wonder, for those that aren't really even thinking about this, who do you think was at Virginia when shit popped off there? There's plenty of DoD folks out there when that happened.
Yeah. Yep, it's a big shit sandwich.
It really is. It's fucking crazy in 2020.
Yeah. And to make it even more crazy, the other thing that's very confirms kind of the flavor of what's going on is that you had at multiple cities in different states, you had like a standard procedure. There's people bringing pallet jacks of bricks out there and dropping them off.
I saw that on Twitter. Yeah. I saw that on Twitter, and I was going to mention that to you and what you thought about that, Doug. And by the way, Mike, you didn't see this on Twitter, but there was a video of a gentleman, a Hispanic young gentleman out there, and he taped himself next to a freshly piled, just a big stack of freshly piled bricks there, Mike, that there was no construction site around. So those bricks were placed there for a reason, Mike.
Well, I hope they're proud of themselves.
I hope so too. Doug, what do you make of that?
Well, it's not one city. It's actually, we know of at least three.
At least
probably
three.
More.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. So you have three instances of now they're typically like pallets is what they're stacking. So they're and we're in the middle of an investigation right now. Like doing probably going to be in contact with like the closest brick and mortar sellers around there. And if you're LE listening to this and you want to assist, like we could really use some assistance in trying to determine, because it's everybody's business. It should be law enforcement's interest to determine who is, providing the bricks for the party. And, it's multiple places in the United States. And so it further confirms the, we kind of have a shape of the thing that is here. But we need to get on record for public record and then expose it to the public so that the public can be aware.
Right. And I assume even with a global pandemic, it won't stop people from rioting or looting. And of course, as much as I enjoy the chaos from a philosophical point of view, I also don't want anyone's property damaged, of course. That's not going to benefit anyone, really. And I'm sure this has zero to do with George Floyd, by the way. These people going out there and sort of taking their frustrations out there as well. This was sort of like the perfect storm, by the way, Doug. Lots of angry people, sick and tired of being sheltered in place.
Yeah, it's it kind of paints a picture, things are not what they seem.
It really isn't. And of course, CNN HQ also damaged by their own, it appears. Maybe I'm wrong, but CNN took a big hit, by the way, Mike and Doug.
I didn't see that. I heard a lot about it. I didn't see any imagery on that. Did you see anything about that? Could you kind of describe what you saw?
I saw people throwing, I'm not sure what they were throwing, maybe even bottles, but they broke some of the windows and doorways there, right in the entrance there of CNN's HQ. They tagged everything up. It was quite a sight to see, to be honest. Yeah, I thought they were going to burn that shit down.
Good. Yeah. If anybody needs to be affected, it's CNN and some of the major news networks, because they are full of shit.
Yeah, I'd say all of them are going to get have to take a little bit of medicine here sooner or later, because it's certainly like the tide has turned, and I've started to notice over the years that they've shifted recently in the last 2 years to, it used to be they tried to trick people, like say this is the thing that you should think and believe and see,
right,
in current events. Now they've recently, at least in the last year, if not in the last 2 years, transitioned to a really clever model where they're now starting to say, nobody trusts us, so we say the opposite of what we want them to do because it pushes them to do the opposite, which is very clever.
Very clever. That's right.
It's really frightening to know that the media is. Let me rephrase that the mainstream media has become so nefarious. It's sickening. It really is. And Michael knows. He knows how, like, the kind of person I am and how much of a patriot I am, and have become even more so. It sickens me. It really sickens me. Could you imagine how much more we get accomplished in this country if we could just get our shit together, man?
Yeah. Well, that's not
all they did. All they did since the election of President Trump is bitch and moan and complain that he shouldn't be president. He's incompetent. Russia. Ukraine. Stormy Daniels. He cheated on the election. I mean, grow up, man. Every election that they lose, they complain that they lost it due to cheating, and yet they are the biggest cheaters of all.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a puppet show.
It really is. I would have knocked one out with Stormy Daniels, by the way, just for the record. Just being honest.
Oh, yeah.
Just being honest.
We're going to do a puppet show with Stormy Daniels?
I would, if I could. She's got a good following. That would help us here on the show. But, Doug, I was just thinking, you recall the Christchurch Mosque shootings, correct? Back in 2019, right?
Oh yeah, I actually saw the end of that in real time because somebody sent me a message about it.
Really?
And then, I saw it on. It was on. I think Facebook was the original. I didn't have Facebook. I quit using Facebook like several years ago.
Good for you.
But I went to they had on the 8chan, or the 8chan is what they call it, right? The 8chan. Was like mirroring the stream, and so somebody sent me a link for that, and then I went in there and I actually caught the tail end of it. It was pretty surreal.
It was pretty crazy. And yes, as soon as I saw that footage, I believe I saw it, someone might have uploaded it on YouTube maybe like an hour after it actually had happened, and as soon as I saw that footage, I thought, oh, this guy was trained for sure. He had that same sort of nature as the Umbrella Man did. Very strategic, very much with their own intent to do plenty of damage, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really tough to say. I got the impression more of like mid-trained guy, but like doing a lot of like private training. But
definitely
what really
trained. Definitely trained, Doug.
His passport. That's what got me.
His passport. Tell me.
Well, I mean, he had visited everywhere. He was like, he visited like Pakistan, North Korea, Israel.
Right. Okay. Yes, I do recall. He did go to lots of places where you could get lots of training to do some shit that he did right there, for sure.
Yeah, it's just a very strange I mean, it's almost like, and you know, he wrote a manifesto. I didn't read the whole thing because I got kind of tired of reading it, but like when I started to read it, and he was clearly, you know, intelligent enough to, you know, formulate concepts, and that tells me that, you know, it gives you like a benchmark of like minimum like perceptual intelligence. And I can't imagine that a person, like, what the obvious, now he was going for like accelerationism is like what, you know, the term used, but you know, it just seems very like you know, the obvious reaction is that the state is going to crack down on exactly what he's trying to fight against, right? Because like that's logically what's going to occur, you know. So he was doing it for the you know, like the mass immigration, the mass you know, injection of immigrants that are being brought in to the country by, you know, the government. And then he's going like he's basically looking at a solution there where he's going to murder all the immigrants, you know. And the obvious, you know, logical extension of that is that the government is going to, you know, obviously take away some more guns so that, you know, people don't have guns, and then they're going to like double down on their like securing their immigration program. So it almost seems, you know what I mean? It just seems like that would be accelerationism, right? Like
Sure.
In terms of his like manifesto concept, to me it almost seems like that's just like the you know, the kind of a complex cover to just say like, I'm doing exactly what is going to happen. This is the reason I'm doing it.
By the way, did he use an M16 or what exactly, or an AR-15? I already forgot.
Yeah, he had a bunch of guns, but he's mainly using an AR-15, you know, like a semi-automatic variant of an AR-15, like a basic common AR-15.
Those are nice, by the way. I do prefer shooting an AR-15. For the record,
they are nice. They're
very
sweet.
very accurate.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
I can attest to that.
I love the AR-15. I got to be honest here with you. I've shot it plenty of times. Well, I won't say anything else there. I'm in California. I'll just leave it at that. But
you've never shot an AR-15 in California?
No, never. I wasn't in California when I did that. Let's just put it that way, for the record. But let's just say, let's just say
illegal out there.
Well, yes, Mike, very.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you didn't hear that here, but yes, I love the AR-15, no doubt. And you know, Doug, that makes me curious. What exactly do you prefer, my friend? You've shot a shitload of guns in your time, and I've always been curious. What does Mr. Dugan Ashley like to shoot?
Well, I like a lot of different guns for a lot of different reasons. If we're going practicality in the United States, like for you got to do some work, then I'm talking AR-15. Like every single time it's going to be an AR variant.
Yeah.
If we're talking like for the emotional aesthetic of enjoyment of a firearm, I can get into the weird stuff. You know, AK is obviously like it's kind of like an AK-47 is kind of like a piece of farm equipment to me, and it has a you know, a certain you know, utilitarian thrill that comes along with shooting one of those.
I've shot one of those before.
Yeah, the image of you, by the way, in the chat room is of you holding an AK-47.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
I have held one. That's true.
Pretty badass, my friend. I've never shot an AK-47, by the way, and some say that's the greatest invention that the Russians brought us. That's
right. It's one of the most preferred assault weapons for military and terrorists.
It's the best thing that came out of communism, they say.
Yeah.
Now, here's what's interesting about the AR-15. A lot of people don't know this. The original AR-15, made by Eugene Stoner, he made that in his home shop in Hollywood, California.
How about that?
Really? Okay. That I didn't know.
Yep. It would have been in the 50s. I think like 1956 is the original. And then he gets, you know, like this is prior to California going anti-gun, but the AR-15 is the most all-American rifle that's ever been made, and it was, you know, it was made in somebody's home shop in Hollywood, California, and then it went from there all the way to, being the primary arm of, the United States for a long time. It's also one of the longest running service rifles.
I have a Smith & Wesson MP15. I have a nickname for it. It's called the Head Popper.
Nice. That's a nice little name there.
Yeah, well, just a little protection for my home.
Which is very much needed nowadays.
Yeah, and like I would need it where I live because I could get attacked by a bear or a deer or a raccoon.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, Mike, I think you would really like the Carnicon channel that is no longer, being regularly updated since it's been many, many moons. But Mike, you could still find the archive of many shows that our friend here, Doug, has been involved in. I think you would really like his material that he brought out. And Doug, I must say, I wish you could bring that back.
It is possible, but we've got a long road ahead of us as a country, and
right.
And I really feel a responsibility to turn towards that at least until the American people can wake up and we can get some clarity on the current situation, the ongoing situation that we've been dealing with for quite a while now.
There was another Russian guy, by the way, that had a very popular YouTube channel. It was based around guns. FPS Russia, I believe, was his username.
Sure.
You're familiar with him, right, guy? What was his name? Like Kyle or something?
Yeah, I think Kyle. FPS Russia Kyle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you like that guy's channel? I thought that was pretty dope too. But I preferred yours though, to be honest, because of the humor, to be honest.
Oh sure, yeah. He was definitely. I mean, he was doing like gun related, whatever you would call it, like gun extravaganza productions.
Right.
Way earlier than me.
Yeah, he was in the game. Yeah, for sure. He was like one of the first, I would have to say, maybe even the first.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, probably.
Man, I'm just thinking about YouTube right now and how different it was back in like 2007.
So I have a question. Is YouTube eliminating all footage of people shooting guns?
Slowly.
Really?
So, yeah, slowly you're starting to see that. They are, I don't think you can even monetize anything that has anything to do with guns anymore.
Oh,
yeah, I don't.
Well, I'm sure Doug would agree with me, as I'm sure you would, Michael. And I think I've even mentioned this to you before, but I firmly believe that if more civilians owned firearms, there would be less crime, because
right.
A criminal is not going to want to break into your home if he knows you're packing heat.
Yeah.
And I am fortunate. I don't know about you, Doug, but I'm fortunate enough living in Pennsylvania. I have a carry conceal permit, and I carry, and I pretty much carry everywhere I go. And I have never felt more safe in my life. I really haven't.
That's the way that we came up here, like in the United States, is bearing arms. So
that's right. Also, one of the reasons that we've never been invaded by another country, because they know that so many civilians own firearms that we would, with the military and the civilians, we would annihilate any intruders.
I wouldn't take them on.
That's right.
I would invade the United States.
Well, yeah, of course. In fact, who was it we were talking to, Michael, that said even China knows that they would never attack or go to war with Americans because they know how we will destroy them.
Yeah, I forget which guest it was, but you're right about that. I don't think most reasonable and intelligent generals would actually even think about trying to rally their troops to want to invade America. That would not be a good idea for those folks at all.
Yeah, it would never work.
I think if I was that, a schemer trying to go at the United States, I think the way that I would do it is to inundate the media and the economic apparatus, and then corrupt the government and the education system. And then I'd probably do a launch coordinated viral release with subsequent out of control riots and protests nationwide. And that'd
Uh,
probably be
ju-
like my first step.
And with
just
also
like what's going on now, right?
yeah, with COVID-19 as well, another nice little cherry to place on top of that, Doug.
Yeah.
By the way, Doug, are you okay with COVID-19? No one out there in your family has been affected by that, or none of your friends, correct? Or everything's good?
No, yeah. I mean, yeah, I basically, I mean, other than the internet, what the internet tells me, I would have never noticed that there was COVID-19.
Amazing.
No difference in my life whatsoever.
Yeah, it hasn't really been much of a change out here for me either, except, having to go inside certain stores and wear the mask per se. That's pretty much about it. My life has kind of remained as it always has been the last few years.
Yeah.
I got to tell you guys now, Michael. You know what I look like, and I wear that black leather.
You look like
cowboy.
Dracula, yeah.
I wear that black leather cowboy hat all the time, and I got my hair's not too long, but shoulder length. I wear all my rings. And
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu, the walking undead. So now, and I even told you, you may have seen the pictures of me wearing those mirror pilot glasses that I actually bought because you inspired me. Because that picture of you wearing those glasses, I was like, those are retro glasses. I got to get me some. So I got myself these pilot aviator mirrored sunglasses.
Oh, really?
Retro.
Well, Mike, let me drop some knowledge on you. Those actually were inspired by Hunter S. Thompson's glasses as well.
Oh, there you go.
The shooters, as they're called.
Are they? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I'm saying is that nowadays, like I, with the enforcement of wearing the face masks, when I walk into these places, I seriously think people must think I'm going to rob them or something because I got the glasses on, the big black hat, and I got the face mask. You can't see me. I just walk in. I'm like, yeah, I'll take some cupcakes, please.
they think the Italian Dracula is going to hold them up there.
It's like, here, take what you want, all the cupcakes you want.
It's the black robber.
What's that, Doug?
The black Italian robber.
Yeah, the black Italian
robber.
By the way, Doug, I do know that you are married, correct?
Sure, yeah.
And the wife is cool, right? She's not sick. No one's sick. Everyone's in good health. Everyone's fine and dandy, break dancing, all that shit, right?
Break dance.
We don't break dance so much these days. But,
okay.
Why not?
Yeah. Well, we got bad hips, Mike. You get older.
Oh, okay.
We're doing real good.
Oh, good, Doug. I'm just making sure everyone's fine. Many people's families have been affected by that. I mean, even Mike here, you had a family member as well, right, Mike?
I had one of my cousins down in where the hell was it? Bayville, New Jersey. This was a month ago. He had gotten sick, severely sick. It actually moved up into his brain, and his family, they didn't even know if he was going to make it, and it was all a result of the CCP virus. And fortunately, knock on wood, he's doing good. He has recovered, and I'm very happy to say. The only other tragedy was, and I may have mentioned this to you, Michael, a friend of mine who runs a really big convention out here every 6 months, he had a friend who his entire family died. First, the grandfather got sick, then the mother, then the sister.
Wait a minute. The entire family got taken out.
The entire family died within, I think, a 2 or 3 week period.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a tragedy. I knew the guy not personally. I knew him through the person I was talking to about it, and the guy lost everybody in his family, and then he died. It was really tragic.
Yeah, that sounds.
It all happened so quick too.
Yeah, that sounds tragic. And by the way, Doug, in terms of COVID-19, do you believe this was a engineered sort of virus?
Oh yeah, engineered. I believe it's engineered. I believe it's also purposefully released and sent to the United States to it's the impetus to justify what is occurring now. That's what I believe.
And what would that be, Doug? What would that be?
Well, so you basically have since 9/11, you've had the like top-down restructuring of the United States into a consolidated model that is pretty much now, the top of the model is the, like the executive branch, and that'd be through like all your executive independent agencies. That'd be all your alphabet agencies, FCC, FEC, FBI, CIA, yada yada yada. I mean, all of them. That's all independent executive agencies that are under the the executive branch. And now that COVID certainly appears to be just based off of the like having a couple of weeks past its where things have settled down now, and we're able to kind of look at it and take stock of what's going on. It certainly appears, like everybody in the United States down to the smallest municipalities have gotten their shutdown orders, and like the system of communication and the system of how pressure comes down from the federal level to the municipal level is all in line now. So it appears that COVID-19 to me looks like a systems check.
Excuse my my lack of knowledge for what that means, but what do you mean a systems check? What does that mean?
Like, it's a little taste of the things that are going to be coming down the pipe in the future.
That's
like
what that's what that bat lady, as they call her over there in China, that's what she said, that COVID-19 was sort of like the tip of the iceberg before what's really to come next.
Yeah.
Well, even Paul Cottrell has,
I don't even know what the fuck that means, but it does not sound good, Mike or Doug.
No, you're right.
Jesus.
I agree with you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Doug.
No, I said, yeah, it's not that good. It's not that great of a thing.
Doug, Michael and I interview a doctor by the name of Paul Cottrell who comes on the show. Fascinating guy, really intelligent, very nice guy. And he really, I tell him every time he comes on, he depresses the shit out of me because he just tells us all this horrible stuff that's happening and is going to happen. He has even said that the second wave, which should come in either October, November, is going to be more devastating than what we're dealing with now. But I was going to ask you, do you think that the Communist Party of China, that they released this virus as a result to, and this is just just an out there question, do you think they released it as a result to all the sanctions that President Trump was slamming them with?
I mean, it could certainly appear that way, but I do not believe that's what's going on. I have a very, I'm like deeply researched into China and the current, like post 9/11, United States government and economic system, international, retail finance system, and it's certainly, in my judgment, wrong or right, the way that I see this is that you basically have a coordinated release between nation states, and what's going on right now is like a bigger picture than the common society can typically conceptualize this. So we think of things as like nation states, with borders and teams and things like that. And what's really going on is something that is kind of like over that and above that, where you have individuals at high levels like coordinating between each other to, push society and technology in the direction that it wants to go, and it is for, an increase in control of the population.
Interesting answer. Thank you.
Very interesting. And of course, our country, as they say, is back to being heavily divided. But I would have to say the last time I recall our country ever being divided was sort of like the day or two after 9/11, to be honest, Doug and Mike.
You think it was divided after 9/11?
No, I said the only time I thought we were ever united.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I thought it was perhaps maybe like a day or two after 9/11.
That's right. The whole country became patriotic. I saw that firsthand living as close as I did to New York City. And, I was driving around like this was just like 2 days after it happened, and every car had a flag on it. Every person was like, walking down the street going, USA, all right, And then, a year down the road, it was like, oh, the Muslims are our friends and the Saudis are our friends. Meanwhile, they're the ones who supported the entire terrorism thing. And what, 16 out of the 19 terrorists were Saudis. So, then we're being told, oh, but the Muslims are our friends. Actually, again, not trying to sound like a racist, but the Muslims who come into this country and do not assimilate to our country, they immediately put us down and say, their religion is what they need prominent in their life, and that all should respect it. Okay, fine. But, again, this is not Saudi Arabia or Iran or Iraq. This is America. And you assimilate to our country. That's why I got so pissed off after I found out it became so politicized, if that's the word. And then, we had to go, our poor, how many soldiers died for our country.
Well, by the way, Mike, Doug was actually out there in Iraq, if I recall correctly, right, Doug?
Sure, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I had a friend actually who died out there who gave me the nickname Decon, as I use as my last name here. A friend of mine who gave me that name died in that war, and I always thought, man, what a pointless war that was. So
what a pointless war.
This is my way to honor my friend.
Good for you. Good for you. And you know what, Doug? Thank you for the service that you put into this country. And I always walk up to veterans when I see them wearing their hats or a shirt that says veteran, and I always say thank you for what they've done.
I think the best thank you that any vet could want is doing stuff like what you guys are doing here, trying to wake the American public up to not be asleep and to view life critically, and to be guarded and awake in defense of their their rights and their families. And that's like something that's got to spread more. Like we've got to wake America up, and they've got to be in a defensive critical mindset of like guarding what is there so that it doesn't slip away.
I personally think that a lot of Americans have woken up, especially in the Bible Belt, in the center of the country. It's primarily the big cities: San Francisco, L.A., Portland, New York City. It's those big cities that are very liberal, and then they're liberal. Again, I was a liberal myself, but I never took this turn. These people, they've become such snowflakes, and every little thing is so offensive, and down with guns, and even the whole evil white men. And I'm like, that's just so messed up. But this is the world it's become after 9/11, and I'm really confused about it.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, it's certainly to me, the experience of the United States since 9/11 is like every day is exposing itself a little more, as this is like all part of the same process of getting the rug pulled out from under us here. I think we're slowly coming to the catharsis of that, and the consequences of it are dynamic, and could be several roads, but they're all pretty extreme. Like there's not really like a passive comfy road that we can take from here. It's just a very ominous situation.
I mean,
Indeed.
look what the Democratic Party has become, which is partially the reason that I left it, because it was just absolutely insane.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
By the way, Doug, I do want to thank you tremendously for being a part of the program. I know
Absolutely.
we've sort of ran our course here, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, Doug. But again, I do want to thank you tremendously for being a part of the program. Always fun to talk to you, Doug. We'll have to do this again in the very near future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please come back.
I really enjoy it. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, brother. Anything you'd like to plug or say? Now is your time. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think what I wanted to do because Mike had a he was talking about the Muslims, and so I just wanted to have put a caveat in there for anyone listening that Mike's actually a black Muslim.
That's right.
Italian.
How the hell did you know? You blew my cover.
You blew
Doug.
his cover.
Thanks a lot, pal.
I wanted to call him Muslim Mike. Around here.
Muslim Mike.
Muslim Mike.
Don't read into what he said. Anything beyond it's just he's just giving his observations.
That's right. He's innocent here. Just
Michael, you got to get this guy back. I love him.
Amazing. Well, Doug, once again, thank you so much for being a part of the program. And my goodness, Doug, we will talk to you soon on the other side.
Yes, thank you, Doug. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Take care, buddy. Night. Good night.
Take care, buddy. And
there he goes, Mr. Dugan Ashley. Out in the mist now. There he goes.
That's an interesting name, Dugan. Dugan.
Mr. Dugan Ashley, correct.
I definitely heard that.
Yeah, definitely look up his YouTube channel, by the way, Mike. Again, I think you would love it.
Well, did you say it was taken down? I would definitely check it out, but I think you said it was taken down.
He took it down himself, but there is an archive of, I'm not sure if it was his channel or not, but someone else put many episodes of his from the past. So you could check those out on YouTube there. Just type in Dugan Ashley and you'll find it.
Will do.
For sure. It'll be fun.
Right on.
Good guy. By the way, Mike, we're going to hit another break. And of course, I will go to the fridge and grab another beer.
Okay. I'm going to feed my snakes.
And do that. Go ahead, do what you got to do. And listeners, go do what you got to do. It's that time for another break. And Mike, I'm going to mute you now. And we'll talk to you in a minute here.
I will see you at, about 2 minutes to midnight?
Something like that, yeah.
Hey, that's a song of mine.
It is. It's a good one.
All right, I'll see you in a few.
All right, brother. Hang tight.
Right on.
All right, boys and girls, it is that time to go on a little break. Go to the fridge or go to the bathroom, whatever it is you need to do. Well, now is that time, boys and girls. Round 2 is next after this. After a little drink or two, boys and girls, I would suggest you do the same. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Have you thought of breaking through? Ain't it part of what you do? Catch a victim while he's dumb, break his larynx with your thumb. Time, and it's time to get high. Well, this ain't no goddamn dream. It's exactly what it seems. Wake up today just to lay back down and say, I won't be coming back. Let's call it a heart attack. Give me some of that knack. This is just a final payback. They all flipped on me, took my passions, left me be. When I had a place to sit, a goddamn attitude to fit. Talk real smoothly with a spit. But things have changed and I have quit. Got nothing to look forward to but a backlash full of lies. You're too late for where you're going. This is fate, the whistle's blowing. It's much too late. It's all too late. You're much too late. Like a piss hole punk with his nose turned up and a fragrance all your own. Tell me what it's like to be alone. And let's not forget the Scarface prick who offers fix to your face. He dropped out of the subhuman race. That's sad. Boo-hoo-hoo. But I'm goddamn glad that piece of shit was just a fad. Tell me, boy, where were you? What's your story? I mean, really. Where have you been? Was it the big time and full of sin? Tell me what you saw, chasing dragons down the hall. So now I find you just the same, a generation full of games. I hear the whispers, I see traps to break my legs. Where are you going, boy? Where have you been? You're too late for where you're going. This is fate, the whistle's blowing. It's much too late. It's much too late. You're much too late. You're much too late. You're much too late. Tell me, where are you going? Where have you been? Tell me, where are you going? Tell me, where have
And welcome back, boys and girls, for round 2 of the program. And of course, let's bring in Mr. Mike Hideous. I think he might be ready to go. Mike, are you alive?
I'm here, buddy. Can you hear me?
Very good, very good. Yes, loud and clear. I can hear you just fine. And I'm sorry I took a long time. I was looking for the right beer, but all I was left with was this shitty Bud Light.
Oh, no.
This piss water.
At least it's not Paps.
That's true. That's like even more low budget.
Or Miller.
That's like some trailer trash beer, Mike. It really is. It really is. So, Mike, I'm glad you're back, and I'm glad I found this piss water to drink.
Are we on the air?
Yeah, this is the show. We're on the air.
Oh, okay. Good.
I'm like, yeah, this is the show, Mike. This is how it goes. I know, it's unbelievable, right?
No, nothing's unbelievable anymore now that I've been doing this show.
Anything's possible now, right?
That's right. I've taken the red pill.
You know, that makes me so proud.
Does it really?
My heart is warm now, yes.
It's all your fault, pal.
I know, right? I corrupted you.
You certainly have.
Well,
Can't
Mike,
sleep at night. I got bad dreams because of you.
Well, Mike, what do you think every ex-girlfriend I've ever had has to say about me?
Say that again?
I said, what do you think every ex-girlfriend has to say about me?
Oh, I've never thought about asking you such a personal question.
They all say I ruined their lives.
Well then. Something to be proud of, I'm sure.
Well, if you're not ruining their life, then you're not doing it right.
Exactly.
Amazing. So, Mike, are you a Bud Light kind of guy? Because, I'm not.
No.
I don't like this shit. I don't even like this beer, Mike, and I'm still drinking it. What the fuck?
Sounds like maybe a problem, maybe?
I'm getting depressed. That's what it is.
When I used to drink, the only beer I used to drink was either Heineken or Corona. I never liked anything else.
The Corona? You were drinking Corona?
I was.
Nice.
As a matter of fact, most of the times when I drank, I was drinking Jack Daniels.
Oh, shit.
Or Jim Beam. Yeah, I went right to the hard stuff.
Was that Jerry Only's doing?
No.
He didn't get you drunk with the hard stuff, huh?
No. I was doing that way before him.
Was Jerry Only drinking, by the way?
Yeah, he used to slap down a couple of beers every once in a while. I remember when we played in where was it? I believe it was Amsterdam. We played a big festival with Pantera and I think Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson quit. Canceled. Black Sabbath.
What did he cancel for?
I really don't know. I think it might have been scheduling conflict.
I see.
But we were actually called in to fill in the place of Marilyn Manson.
Nice.
And our dressing room was right next to Black Sabbath. How cool was that?
That must have been pretty nice to go up there and, of course, share the sort of the same stage with someone like Black Sabbath. That's pretty cool, man.
It was an awesome concert too. Like I think there was about 6,000 people in the crowd when we played. So
That's a pretty good size.
yeah, yeah. As I've said in the past, at that time in their career, when I joined up, I played the biggest shows with them that they had ever played in their career, as well as my career too. So it was we played huge shows. The one we played in Sweden, Hultsfred, Sweden, was the biggest show I ever played in my life. I believe there was 12,000 people there.
That's a pretty big crowd too.
It was awesome, really amazing. That we played that show at No Effects and Primus.
Primus, another band I haven't heard in a long time.
Yep. Well, I hear them every night when I watch South Park.
That's true. They made the intro to that. By the way, Primus, what are they still doing? Is that guy still doing tours?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I was actually introduced to him by the lead singer Chino from the Deftones, who was really, really cool to me at the time. I explained to him I was brand new in the circuit. I was the new singer for the Misfits, and he was like, "Come on, I'll show you around." He introduced me to Primus. He introduced me to Coal Chamber.
Les Claypool, by the way. I'm forgetting his name.
Yes.
Yeah, before anyone gives a shit, by the way, Mike.
Say that again?
I said before anyone gives a shit again. Look, you forgot the guy's name of Primus.
I couldn't remember. I got to be honest. I don't listen to Primus. Just not my style of music, but I respect them nonetheless.
It's a little out there, man.
It is. It's sort of like Butthole Surfers kind of music. Very on the edge, cutting edge art.
It really is. And by the way, Mike, there is a segment that I like to do on this program called the Unpopular Hour. And it's been a long time since I've been able to do that segment. And I'm thinking we should probably do a sort of slight variation of that since we are sort of getting into these topics. And one of them is Bud Light. Lots of people like this shit beer that I'm drinking here, but it always tasted sort of like watered down piss to me.
Yeah, I agree. I was never a drinker of Bud Light or Bud at all. Budweiser. I just never liked it.
No, not my taste, but lots of people do like that for whatever reason. Yeah. Not quite sure why, Mike, but that's what they like.
I think because it's an American-made beer. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I see, but yes, Mike, the segment, the Unpopular Opinion Hour, is kind of where we get to pontificate and go through all sorts of things that are, of course, not very popular.
Sure thing. Okay. Yeah. Well, you set it up, and I'll be there.
Or they're deemed not very popular, rather. But of course, this is that sort of segment that we're going to do right now that I like to do. And of course, one of the things that I've mentioned before to you in the past was the fact that I hate standing in line. Fucking hate that.
I think most people do.
And I'm glad I thank Jesus Christ for COVID-19. Now I don't have to stand in line.
For what?
For anything? For nothing. For anything. Yeah.
I mean, you still got to order your alcohol at a liquor store, don't you?
Yes and no. Depends on the store.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but beer's not a problem. You could get that really quickly.
And if I remember correctly, you told me marijuana is legal in California. Is that correct?
It's very legal in California, right?
So my question to you, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, do you get your supply from a distributor, a dispenser?
Dispensary, there's delivery service out here. Yeah.
Delivery service. Oh my God, they must be making a fortune.
Well, it's an essential business, Mike. It has to remain open.
Apparently. Yeah, that's amazing.
That's how California makes a lot of their money.
Apparently. And you know what? Here I am starving. Well, not starving. I'm exaggerating. But here I am, struggling with money where I should be selling pot.
You should be growing, Mike.
I should be growing it and selling pot.
There you go.
Can I deliver to your house like a paper boy?
You'd be making bank, Mike.
I'll tell you.
It's a good idea.
I'll tell you.
That's where the money is. The marijuana,
sure is.
The marijuana business.
You know what scares me though? You know what scares me, Michael?
Go ahead.
is the country going to become a little bit more stupid by everybody smoking pot? I mean, because let's face it.
No, not at all. That's just the misconception lots of people have due to Reefer Madness, the movie, and all the propaganda from the government, Mike. Most people are not that way when they get high. But of course, there are those that, if they get high, they get lazy, they get very distracted with what they need to do. I mean, there's certain,
that's my point.
Yeah, there's certain strains of marijuana that can cause you to want to accomplish things, or perhaps want to go lay down in the couch.
Right.
Sure.
See, that's my thing. Like I don't smoke socially anymore. Like I used to go out to clubs.
I don't think anyone does anymore, Mike.
Yeah, I suppose. But it was a thing for me when I would go out. I'd smoke a joint, and it was illegal wherever I was in New York, New Jersey, and now, as an old man, I the only time I smoke is like when I'm going to bed. It helps me, it helps me sleep. But I won't smoke it in public anymore because it just makes me a little bit more paranoid than it used to, and I just choose not to have that. So I don't know. I guess what I'm just saying is, for me, when I smoke, I know that I can't function. I can't do something important like
it's because
job.
It's because of your tolerance. It's very low because you're not a chronic user.
I smoke every day.
Yeah,
every single day.
But there's some people that even if they do that every day, they still have that weird thing with them where they just can't function.
Right.
Even if they're a chronic, even if they are a chronic user, but everyone varies. No one's body chemistry is the same.
I've been smoking every day since about the age of right around just before I went into the Misfits, so 1997, 98. And that's when I started smoking just about every single day. And again, when I say smoking every day, I wasn't, just like puffing on like joint after joint.
Sure.
I'd have a few hits and that's it. And 9 times out of 10, it was usually once, maybe twice a day. That's it. But I don't know. I guess for me, smoking marijuana was just a recreational thing.
Sure.
Now I hear a lot of people that are like, oh, I've got a headache, so I better get pot.
You better, right.
Take an aspirin, man. It's cheaper,
Well, you could do that.
But see, because this is the way I see it. First of all, I like the old days when you had to buy it from a guy who was selling pot, on the street. Maybe not on the street, but, your own personal sales guy. Now it's just like accepted as the norm. And I guess that's okay. I'm not complaining. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. It seems like the thrill is gone almost.
Well, the thrill is kind of gone, but the quality is amazing.
The quality is goddamn amazing.
It's incredible.
It was never like this when I first started smoking. And I got started late. I didn't start smoking until I was 21.
Thank you for praising me. I totally deserve it.
I have no idea why Trump just got into the conversation there. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I don't know what he was doing.
I didn't start smoking until I was 21 years old.
Really?
Yep.
My friends. You're a late bloomer, Mike.
That's right. And in fact, I didn't start drinking until I was 21. I got, when I turned 21, I drank for 6 months. I got drunk, and that was it. And I was like, this sucks.
You're a real regular Boy Scout, Mike.
I was straight edge at one point in my life.
Oh no, Mike, you were straight edge. You had the fucking the X's on your fists or hands or whatever, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, no.
When I was a young hardcore punk rocker, I was totally straight edge until I turned 21.
I can't believe it, Mike. You were one of those.
Yeah, well, I was also a Democrat for crying out loud.
Jesus,
so
Mike, you were all fucked up.
I know. A lot has changed.
A lot has changed. Oh my God. Well, I'm glad we're red pilling you here, Mike. My God, Mike, you are like I'm actually impressed with you now, Mike.
Why is that?
Because you're being red pilled now. It's kind of like you shedded off the old habits? You're kind of coming into a new body of sorts, a new exoskeleton of sorts now, Mike?
Perhaps.
You're evolving?
I've definitely...
You're like a fucking Pokemon character now. You evolved.
I have definitely... I've definitely had a few issues trying to accept a lot of the topics that I've learned to understand on this show.
I love it. I love it. Yes.
Yeah, you and I spoke about this privately on the phone 2 days ago. And I told you, like, the things I'm learning, as I was never one to really follow conspiracy theories, the things that I'm learning through this show and that I have experienced through this show have not only opened my eyes, but really, in some cases, have given me nightmares at night. It's become very disturbing for me, and I'm not kidding.
Do you need me to hold your hand, Mike?
You might have to, buddy.
Do you want me to breastfeed you?
Maybe not, because I don't know. I'm not into man nipples.
Good, because I have A cups. You're not going to like that. You're not going to like getting breastfed by me.
You and me both, brother.
Good Lord. But yes, Mike, I am very happy that you are evolving and you are shedding the skin, per se, as they say. And my God, Mike, you are evolving right before our very own eyes.
Yeah, let's just hope it's for the better, Michael. And I say that with all due respect, because try to understand what I'm about to tell you. As many things as I hear on this show that they really make you think. You really ponder some of the topics that are brought up on this show. And
I'm doing my job. That's all I'm doing.
You're doing your job. And
Right.
In the past, I have listened to the show. I mean, obviously not as much as I'm on it now, because now I do it with you whenever we're on the show.
Right.
But before that, when I was just a guest and a friend of yours, I tried to listen to it as often as I could. And there were times when I couldn't check it out. But for the most part, I listened to the show and I heard the topics that were brought up by the guests. Now I am part of the show, and I'm like up front. I get to ask questions. I get to talk with you. I get to talk with the guests and hear their topics, their subjects, their controversies and conspiracies. And it's really hit home with me. I've become disturbed about what I'm hearing and learning.
I love that. I'm glad you're disturbed.
It's a disturbing situation.
That's the first step.
Trying to swallow the topic of whether or not my government is doing bad things to Americans. That really hurts me. That really disturbs me. And as even Jim Fetzer had said that, how could you be surprised? Like, how could you? Well, I mean, because I chose not to think of such things being so ominous.
That's true. And when we talk about 9/11, I've always had this weird sort of feeling anytime I would talk about it with someone that's like in the East Coast. I would always have this weird feeling that a lot of them just could not conceive the notion that perhaps their own government perhaps might have let something like this even take place. It seems like those in the East Coast have a very hard time accepting that.
Well, I'm sure you could understand from my point of view, and anybody who really was there that day. And I even though I wasn't right there, I could see the buildings from my building living in Kearney, New Jersey.
Yeah, I just think it's much more impactful for those that are on that side, closer to,
Sure.
Yeah, close to ground zero, opposed to someone like myself that's way out here.
Right. Well, again, you see it and you see this devastation,
Right.
and there are thousands of people that are dying at the very moment you're watching, and you say to yourself, some MFer better pay for this. I want justice. I want someone's head on a platter So if it was bin Laden, let's kill that son of a bitch and let's take everything, that his people did to us. Let's just take everything away from them. And that was the outlook of everybody.
Sure.
In my town, in my area. Everybody wanted revenge. Everybody. And meanwhile, back in Patterson, my old town, there's a section in Patterson on Main Street, and the Muslims were out in the streets celebrating. My father, who was working for the city at the time, he was an emergency management coordinator. He worked with the fire department, chief of police, chief of the fire department, and the mayor. So when there was a disaster or chaotic situation, he was there. And on 9/11, after the towers had fallen, or even when they were hit, I'm not sure. But
Super Tuesday, by the way.
Say again?
I said that was on Super Tuesday when the towers went down. That's
right. And on that day, the Muslim section of Patterson, New Jersey, which is Main Street, there's all these Arabic stores and people that live there, and they were all out in the streets cheering and celebrating. And my father saw it because he was on duty that day, and it just pissed me off so bad.
No, I agree. Yeah, I'd be angry too.
So yeah, I'm sure you can understand my outlook on it, my viewpoint, which is, innocent people died. 4 planes went down that day. 2,999 people died. And for what? You're going to tell me that our government did that? That's what I'm having a hard time accepting. Is the government really doing things like this? And, I truly want to believe that President Donald Trump is there taking these hits by the left for us, for the people that believe in this country, who don't want to see the corruption taking place anymore.
No, he's too busy with Paula White, by the way.
Wherever I go, God rules.
There she
when
is.
When I walk on White House grounds, God walks on White House grounds.
Oh, shit. God walks on White House grounds, baby.
Yeah.
By the way, there were protesters were at the White House.
Today?
Yeah.
Any trouble?
I believe they were.
Yeah. Nothing new there.
Yeah, nothing new. By the way, we were doing the unpopular hour. The unpopular opinion hour, yeah. Mike, it's okay. We sort of digressed, but that's okay. It's all part of the conversation. We'll bring it back.
Right on.
Yeah, we'll bring it back on course. Boys and girls, don't be scared. Yeah, by the way, if anybody wants to call in, that number is 760-332-8724. That, of course, is if you have balls, you can call in.
Tell us what kind of beer you like.
Or if you have ovaries, you can also call in.
Yeah.
Get the ladies in here. But, they're kind of nervous. They're scared. Even lots of grown men who listen to this program are very scared and intimidated. They don't want to call in. Bunch of pussies.
Come on, guys, ladies, call in. We'll talk to you.
Yeah, we'll talk to you. Yeah, the number's on the screen, by the way. But let's continue with this segment here. And yes, Mike, with what you said, I hope the president's doing the right thing. We all,
so do I.
Yeah, we all hope so, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I can't emphasize enough, Michael, in trying to make you understand how much I love my country, how much I want this country to remain great. And it's hard for me to see the terrible things that I've seen taking place, like during Obama's administration, and especially since 2016 election day when President Donald Trump won the
Mike,
election.
that's another thing. The fact that you can see that sort of corruption that went on with Obama and Flynn, but you have a hard time even going back further and seeing that there is much more than the official narrative, Mike.
Oh, no. Au contraire. Look, I'll be the first to admit, Michael, I firmly believe that there has been corruption going on for years.
Well, that's what I mean, though, Mike. That's what I mean. You have to really go back and read way into this sort of thing and find out for yourself, so you can be validated, or others with what they said, you could see if they are actually telling the truth with what you are hearing. And also, yeah, you have to go back and check all sorts of documents as well and read the official narrative and figure it out for yourself. Because, Mike, you can't really trust the official narrative. You know that.
And
by
be
now.
that as it may, I mean, let's face it, not all those documents are available.
Well, that too. Just look at the JFK documents. None of those are really even out there.
Right.
Only a very, not all the essential files, and if they are blacked out.
Right. And I get it. I understand that. Look, Kennedy was before my time. I don't know much about that situation. The things that I've lived through have been as a child. You know, I was a young child when Vietnam War was still coming to an end in the late 60s. And I lived through the Desert Storm, Iraq War with Saddam Hussein and President Bush, the father. I lived through 9/11, the war with Iraq with Bush Jr. I've seen the disruption. Well, I saw the disruption of government and the world with Hussein Obama, and now I'm seeing the disruption of people who think that Donald J. Trump is not fit to be president. You know, so I've seen things. It's just really, I'm just really at a point where, like, wow, how can this really be happening?
That's true.
But again, we digress.
But it's happening. That's the problem. It's hard to believe, but it's really happening. That is really the issue here, Mike.
I know.
We think it's not happening, but then later on, years down the road, we find out that, holy shit, look what all these things were going on in the shadows.
Exactly. And I sincerely hope that eventually, and I even said this to you, and Fetzer about a week or so ago, that if they can finally get people like Hussein Obama, Hillary Clinton, Shifty Schiff, and Pelosi, and all these people that have been against the president, if they can get the facts on them and prove without the shadow of a doubt that these people are guilty and that they put them away and that these guys go to jail, I will happily run naked down the street.
You'll become a Democrat, Mike.
No. I am
not that far.
No,
not too far. Okay.
I'll never go back to being a Democrat again. Never. Not after what I've seen. Not after what I've seen and I've experienced. Never again.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my...
You ain't black, Mike.
No, I'm a Italian black Muslim.
Yeah, you're not a pure-blooded Italian sort of black. You don't make the cut.
Don't make the cut.
You don't make the cut. Amazing. I believe we have our first caller here this evening. Caller, you are live on the air. How you doing?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right.
Amazing. Where are you from?
Austin.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Lovely. Are you do you listen to Alex Jones?
No.
Who do you listen to out there?
You.
Just me.
Sarah Westall. Sarah Westall's good. iPod 1776, or his name is, Sir Mac?
Right.
Who else? The Black Conservative Patriot.
Which one?
Oh, there's more than one? No, that's what he goes by.
Well, I mean, Mike is a black conservative.
Huh?
Mike is a black Italian conservative. That's true.
I listen to a lot. I also have a bunch of financial friends on Twitter, and
Right.
like Robert Kiyosaki, I like to listen to him, and a lot of financial geeks.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. And what was your name color? I forgot to ask.
Can you not guess it?
I can guess it. I don't know what your name is.
You don't have no idea.
Is this Nancy Pelosi? It's not Nancy?
No.
Who are you, caller? I'm curious.
Is this Maxine Waters?
No.
Is this Betty White?
Lady Gaga?
No.
Lady Gaga, is that you?
No.
Is this Rosie O'Donnell?
Oh no. Come on, tell us.
Yeah, tell us.
Robin.
Robin?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Rob, you mean Rob from the chat room there?
Mm-hmm.
My goodness, yeah. Robin. Well, welcome to the program. Thank you so much for calling in. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, how you been?
I've been doing good.
Amazing.
It's cool here. It's chill.
Well, yeah. What's going on out there, by the way? Give us a rundown. What? Tell us what's up with the COVID-19.
I did a little bit of this tequila.
Oh shit! No wonder you called in.
Yeah, I decided to break down and do some tequila.
Oh shit! Okay.
Generations Añejo is really good.
Very nice, Robin. I'm proud of you.
It's triple distilled.
Oh my.
Where are you from,
really
Robin?
Good.
Austin, Texas, Mike. That's where she's at.
Oh, okay.
I'm from Texas. Long time Texan up both sides of my family.
Do you carry a gun, Robin?
I got a gun.
Oh shit! Be careful, Mike.
Hell yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So, Robin, what's going on with COVID-19 out there? Are they opening up? What's going on? I don't know what's going on in Texas.
Yeah, we've been open. Well, they were never really strict to begin with.
Oh, okay.
I could still go out even when people went inside. It was like never a government thing. It was, and I could still go out, but you know, everybody kind of went inside on their own, and you know, if they came out sparsely, and then we've done it. I don't think many people have died here at all. In fact, I think all the retirement homes are recovered because they weren't ever like dictating medicine from the government down. And we were allowed, you know, the doctors were allowed to do their job. And so there's been very few deaths, and people are out and about now. The traffic's growing. It's been growing ever since, let's see, it was before the government said we're going to open up. We just immediately it just started growing and growing. I mean, it wasn't like it was forced. Anybody who had a weak immunity or anything was allowed to just stay home and be chill if they wanted. But people who wanted to work were, and we were afraid of the food supply. It was when they started shutting down some of the food processing plants that Texas really started to come out anyway, and then the government said the governor was like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and start opening up. And then I think then the CDC and then the lefties kind of came in. You could smell them.
You could smell them.
They had that. Yeah.
That's funny.
There was
if I may cut in for 1 second.
Go ahead, Mike.
Just want to cut in for 1 second. Robin, I'm looking at the CDC government website right now. It says in Texas there were 61,006 cases and 1,626 deaths as a result. So I just wanted to give you that update. That's what I see on the CDC government website.
Yeah, but hadn't the CDC been full of crap?
That's another thing.
I don't know if I trust their figures because they were kind of with the WHO on a lot of crap. There's another side I probably would trust more, I don't know off the top of my head.
By the way, Robin, when someone told me, when someone told me that Trump had sort of like disbanded from the Who, I thought, what happened to the band? Yeah, I was like, the Who.
Was he the drummer?
Yeah, I'm like, they're still around.
Are they? I haven't heard about them.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know.
No. They stopped playing shows.
Didn't Roger kind of do it?
Yeah. I think you're right. But
what was that, Mike?
They stopped playing a long time ago.
Yeah.
I think they're all in retirement now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, didn't Dalton do too many drugs?
He might have, but
good times.
I've seen him. He looks pretty decent to me. Considering.
And that was just his normal look.
Yeah, he just looked like he was melting.
He looks like he's done too much acid.
Yeah, a little too much there. Amazing. So, Robin, I got to ask you, in terms of the president, Donald J. Trump, what's your take on the way he's handled the nation through this pandemic? What are your thoughts and opinions, Robin? Go ahead, lay it on us.
Put me on the spot, aren't you?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
You are a naughty man.
I am very naughty. That's true. You're right. I'm a heathen. I'm guilty.
Well, I think sometimes he brings in the wrong people, and he thinks that people are his friends who are really out to kill him.
Ooh, shit.
And
and
he kind of fucks things up.
Good point. Good point.
I really like him. I'll stick up for him because he's got a lot of good things. He's not Hillary, and he's got good of the country at heart. But boy, he is just so full in the swamp that, and he hires the swamp sometimes, and it's like, and then you wonder if Goldman's talking through him or what. So, but he's better than most of the swamp, yeah. But
no doubt,
I think that he needs to blow off Twitter and move over to other places like BitChute and what is that? That Patreon? No, it's not Patreon because they'll screw you too. It's Parler, Parler, which a lot of people are moving over to, which I believe, because what happens is people leave Google and the places that are silencing people for political reasons, and they move over, and then the ISP's the same assholes, or they're gonna try to take it over. But I hear the ISP isn't with assholes over here, so they do have free speech at those, and I'm more into a renaissance. And if he comes down on Twitter, then other people like you and I can get sued for content on our sites if we have a website. So then that's what Dan Bongino says, and he says that then Twitter will use it to put all of the little guy competition out of business. If Trump does act on removing the law, but he's right. They don't need to be tax funded while they're crushing people's political speech.
Right. And of course, for those that don't know, Twitter sent the tweets, which implied that protesters in Minneapolis could be shot. Quote unquote glorified violence, the first time it had applied such warnings to any public figures' posts. Our own very president getting heat for that.
Exactly. See, he had him on that fact check, because the fact check was full of shit, right? And it was by a racist dude who pretends like he's against Nazis, but he's projecting. And then he turns around and does that crap. He comes out the next day, and so it's like Trump.
There's just chaos all over the place, though, right?
Were you there? I mean,
Robin, there's just so much chaos going on.
And that's why a lot of people, I don't know movies much, but that's why people have been referring to the Joker And when I guess he causes a riot or something, and when they're
the
taking him away in
Joker.
the cop car,
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen the movie,
It's
but they show the clip.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a good
And
movie,
then,
by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah. People seem to have loved it.
It was good. It was good, even though the media said, this movie is bad. It's dark.
Oh,
don't
Wait a minute.
watch it.
What are we talking about? What movie? What movie?
The Joker.
Okay.
The newer rendition of the Joker. I thought it was a fabulous movie.
Yeah. I heard street people liked it.
Yeah, it was good.
But you're right. I heard the mass media not like it, and then you wonder, was that to sell it more to people who rebel?
Good question.
Like reverse PR.
Yeah, reverse psychology. Say something is not it, and when it is it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, the whole thing about the whole thing about. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike. It's okay. Jump in there.
Okay. I was just gonna say the whole film. I mean, I got to be honest. I haven't seen the film The Joker, but from what I understand, it basically incites a lot of group rioting violence.
I love it.
Right, and so I think that may be what some of the people were saying. You know, it's a bad influential movie, just like the film The Black Panther that came out, which was a terrible title in my personal opinion, because it was just like it made it seem like, this is like a black uprising for the Black Panthers. I don't know, but I'm getting off track here. I think The Joker was just simply a movie that was inciting violence on riot scale.
Sex and violence sells, Mike. That's why I'm a fan.
I suppose it does, but at the same time, we just sort of like spoke about this, like, if you owned a business, Michael, and you work your tail off all your life to build up this business, and then some son of a bitch walks up and just breaks your windows and throws a Molotov cocktail.
Yeah,
that's true.
Crying black dude. Yeah, people need to start a fundraising for that crying black dude that had the sports bar. I'm amazed nobody's done that yet. So the one who was crying, they were trying to steal a safe, right?
Oh, maybe they're not Democrats.
Yeah, because Democrats started using it as an alternate way to get around funding or something.
Wait a minute. The crying black guy, are you referring to something you saw on Twitter?
Yeah, no, yeah, that was the guy up in Minnesota. He was a fireman, and he saved all his money to open the sports bar, and they had gone in and ransacked it, and they were trying to steal his safe, and he was crying, and he was making a video of like, oh, I worked so hard for this, and I don't have insurance. Yeah, that guy, somebody needs to start a fundraiser.
Are you sure you're not confusing that video for the early 90s video during the LA riots, which is another clip that was retweeted, as they say, on Twitter, that made the rounds?
Really?
Yeah, there's a black man also with an older black lady next to him.
Well, he had a funky name like Idolin or some wild name, right?
I believe
so. Very unique name.
You might have. I'm not sure which video you might have seen, but I know there was another gentleman with sort of that situation going on as well.
So that was a fake. That was.
Well, it wasn't a fake video. I mean, it's real, but it's
old.
Right. That's from
old shit.
That's from the 93 riots or 92 riots, I believe, in LA.
Okay.
Yeah, when he's out.
Cool.
But still, it's the same purpose, though. Yeah. No one deserves that. But then again, life is not fair, and these things happen. There's always going to be some asshole. Yeah, there's always going to be some asshole that ruins it for everyone.
That was my point before.
You say that with pleasure in your voice.
Well, everything I say is with pleasure in my voice. Amazing. That's right. Mike, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's right. Go ahead. It was nothing.
I was just saying, well, there's always some asshole that ruins everything, Mike.
Right.
Well, that's how you invent shit.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at before, is that, you try to be a good Samaritan and do things the right way and have morals in your life, and then some bastard, comes along and either jumps you or takes something from you or even worse, rapes or kills you or friend or family member of yours. And if you're going to be in a state, particularly where you're instructed where you cannot own a firearm, like New York City, New Jersey, California, and then you have some home invasion, somebody breaks in and like rapes your daughter and your wife and kills, and then kills them or you or whatever. I mean, that's horrible, man. That's horrible. How could you not want to be protected? I mean, as I said, you work all your life, and some son of a bitch comes into your life and takes it. That's why I love living where I'm living. I can own a firearm, and I can protect myself.
Right. That's a good privilege to have.
Certainly is.
Indeed. And of course, we got Robin here. For those that are listening in and wondering who this third voice is, that's our a longtime listener, Robin.
If you scream at them like a psycho when they're trying to kill you, if you scream at them, "I'm not dead yet, you bitch,"
you bitch.
Sometimes they get scared and run away.
I'm gonna start calling people bitches now.
Oh, just fuck.
That's right, Robin.
I mean, sometimes you just have to be psycho enough to want them to kill you for them to not kill you.
That's right. So
I think
when it comes down to it,
the problem with that is that not everybody can think in that capacity when they're being raped or have a gun to their head or a knife to their throat. You can't really always think in that capacity. I understand what you're saying. But 9 times out of 10, the psycho that's doing the harm to you or your family is probably 100% more psycho than you could ever be.
Well,
do you not agree?
I guess so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, they're actually psycho, and sometimes psychos can be more manipulated, and usually they're scared. I think that some of them hid out from COVID more than others. I noticed that. I was like, oh, wow, so they're the wusses. They're the real wusses. And that's why they go attack other people. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, I live in Texas. And y'all ain't ever going to get our guns. That's just that.
Amazing.
No matter how much California moves here, we used to be a country of our own.
By the way, Rowan, I apologize. I apologize for the Californians, my fellow Californians moving out there and plaguing it up for you. I'm sorry.
Well, California used to be Texas, And if we knew that we could have just printed money and paid off all our war debt fighting for our independence, we would have done it and just kept all that damn land. But
that's true. Well, you're not lying there.
I mean, we would go become our own country again before anybody could take our guns. That's for sure.
It's still early, Robin. It's still early.
Oh, then the Texans are moving out.
They're moving out. Really?
I mean, no. If it comes down to that, if the lefties take over and they come to take our guns, then the people will leave. And then it'll just be lefty land.
Lefty land.
Yeah.
So it's gonna become like
the end of America.
End of America. So it's gonna become like Portland.
Yeah, it'll be it'll be worse. It'll be the end of America, and then they will bring in the foreign troops because these people are getting paid off by foreign people. And Soros is behind it.
That's what
and
I've heard.
China is behind it. And yes, then they will use it to invade us. But see, our government, certain people in our government make more money off funding both sides of the war.
Right.
And they put us out of business, and then they go over there and put their families in business over there. And they would be doing it because they would be afraid that we weren't going to vote for them, and they're willing to use China or anybody to come back and kick our ass for it. Just like Hillary was using Russia to fuck America because she didn't win the election. I mean, she's already bleeding it right there.
We had a guest, by the way, Robin, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we had a guest just the other day who was saying that Hillary was going to take over for Biden.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry, that's tequila.
That was COVID-19.
Yeah, totally. That's don't you get it? You hear the whispers, right? That's the way it's supposed to go. Biden's supposed to get out, and Hillary's going to come in, and you could hear her stirring every time. You know, you can just feel her little vibration. She gets excited and kind of giddy.
Do you think she's do you think she's a witch, by the way?
Far from it.
Yeah, she is a witch.
Amazing.
Among other things.
Amongst other things.
I think I think the greatest thing that could happen would be that Hillary goes up against Trump again, because I think he'll
totally.
She's a criminal. She's a effing criminal. Her and her husband are criminals. They have a body count that's more than what, 20, 25 people or that we know of.
It was very strange. More. Yeah, that is very strange, by the way, that both Clintons have like a pile of bodies connected to them.
Yep.
Weird.
Yeah, real weird. It's even weirder that they're not paying. We're not getting justice for what they've done, the things that they've done. Those poor kids that were killed in Arkansas for those drug-related plane drops.
That's true.
You know, the cocaine.
Yeah, Mena, Arkansas.
That's right. Those kids are dead. Those teenagers are dead because of the Clintons.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Catman Mondu in the chat room says, I take offense to that comment about Hillary being a witch.
Oh, well, that's one of the nicer things she is.
Yeah, that's very nicely put. Honestly, I think she's just a cunt.
Oh, boy.
I mean, that's putting it real nicely.
Yeah, very true. Hillary's a cunt. I'll repeat again.
She's a psycho fucking lesbian bitch.
A psycho fucking lesbian cunt. Sorry, I like the cunt word. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's a cunt, all right.
That's right. This is not a PC show, by the way, so you fucking cunts can't complain.
Fuck her and fuck Bill Gates.
Amazing.
Fuck Soros.
Fuck them.
Fuck them all.
That's right.
Yeah,
burn it down.
Epstein.
Burn it down, by the way. Burn it all down. That's what I want to see. Just burn everything.
Yeah, let them make their robot Terminator bot.
I'm waiting.
They're going to eat their faces off because we're less of a threat.
My goodness, Robin. Robin, you're a bad influence. I'm right here going crazy now because of you, Robin. You're a bad influence.
Thank you. Yeah, I know you like that.
That's true. That's true.
It just wasn't crazy enough yet, right?
That's right. So, Robin, my goodness, we are coming to a close here, and I've been having having a fun chat with you for the past 24 minutes here. Robin, I'm so glad you called in. You have influenced me to act up here.
Good.
Love it.
Oh, are y'all Satan worshippers?
Just Mike. I don't even believe in Satan.
Is he? Is he really? Is he a Satan worshiper?
Mike, he's a Satanist, but I don't know if he's actually like worshiping Satan. I'm not sure. Mike, what's going on?
Robin, to answer your question, yes, I am a Satanist. Yes.
Oh, is that because you were a Catholic and it was like the same thing?
Yeah, it's like the same thing. Love that.
No, actually,
you Catholic.
I'll give you the short answer. Basically, I am a recovering Catholic, yes.
Recovering Catholic, I love that. Like he was raped.
Not much of one if you became a Satanist.
Well, it all happened because I had been studying the occult back in 2006 and 2007. And after I read the Satanic Bible by Dr. Anton LaVey, I was moved, as I sincerely believe it was one of the best self-help books I had ever read. And so after I read it, I was like, this makes perfect sense. It's all about taking full responsibility for your own actions and just making best for what you can on this planet while you're here. That's it. Hello?
Okay.
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 So yes,
I'm
I'm a
sure.
Satanist.
Evil is always dressed up in pretty words.
That's right. And Robin, what
I mean,
exactly?
It wouldn't be evil if it couldn't suck you in with the good shit.
Amen. And Robin, what exactly are you? Are you a theist?
I have no religion in my name.
Oh shit! Okay, you're a free soul.
I was raised that way.
Me too. You're a free spirit.
Way, yeah.
I love that, Robin.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
But I do remember picking out my parents.
You picked your parents.
Yeah, I picked out my parents.
Robin, are you a witch? Robin, are you a witch? Is that what you're telling me?
No, but I do have some amazing powers.
Oh shit!
But they're just natural. They're just because I'm me.
Understood, Robin.
I don't do cults enough to be anything.
I see.
I don't do anything. I tend to be a libertarian more. I flunk politics. I'm Texan, you know. I flunk politics. I'm cool with people crucifying me for flunking it all.
Me too.
I would go to church sometimes with friends when I was young, so they could tell me I was going to hell. And I think to myself, I would think to myself, wow, you don't even get Jesus, do you?
Oh my. Robin, you're probably the best caller we've had in a long time.
I'll talk to you later.
Robin, how many cats do you own?
None. I lost my owner.
Robin's the best caller officially now. Thank you so much, Robin, for calling in. We will I would love for you to call in again, Robin. You are my favorite caller now.
We'll do it. Bye.
Thank you so much, Robin. Take care.
Take care, Robin. Thank you for calling.
Sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams. Take care out there.
Hail Satan.
Oh my. Love Robin. Wasn't she great?
It was fun.
That was fantastic. That's probably the best caller we've had.
Yeah, in a while, right?
Yeah, it totally took my mind off of this piss beer. This Bud Light here that I'm drinking, that's just watered down and just like cheap Coke. Yeah. Fuck this.
So, I got to ask you, this segment that we were supposed to do, did we do it?
Not even.
Not even,
man. We totally went off base, but I mean, I could bring it back, though. I could bring it back.
Oh, and it's up to you, whenever you want. I'm just curious to see how it works, but we can do it another time, whenever it's good for you.
No, I mean, we still got a couple minutes here. I could bring it back to this. I could bring it back. I could always say another thing I dislike is the amount of podcasters out there that sound so much alike.
Okay.
A lot of them sound alike, Mike. I'm not sure what it is, but a lot of these voices I hear when people tell me to listen to this, that, and the other, I can't even tell the difference. They all sound the fucking same.
Okay.
It's weird.
The only podcast I ever listened to was, well, technically yours wasn't a podcast. I don't think it was YouTube, right? Your shows?
I don't even know what this is. This is like a hybrid animal.
Well, the only other podcast I had ever listened to was Mark Levin.
Mark Levin?
Yeah, I know you don't like him, but I really like him a lot.
I kind of like Savage over him.
I stopped listening to Savage because when he wrote his book on religion, that was what he was talking about.
Really? Okay, tell me about that. I didn't know that.
Well, apparently he wrote this book about God or religion. I don't remember. It's been about 2 years at least since I've listened to him.
Wow.
And I got really frustrated with him, and plus he was just so hard. Like he didn't like anybody. You know?
No,
like,
of course not. Of course not. That's another Radio 101 thing, by the way, Mike. You never put anyone over. You never get names right. You never get the this or that right. You never give them credit. That's Radio 101 shit. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and see, I wasn't really keen on that. But I was actually on the Savage show once.
No kidding. You called in.
Yeah. he had done this segment about he's a big supporter of saving African elephants, African rhinos, and he gives like tens of thousands of dollars to the cause every year. And he had brought up this topic about how an entire family herd of elephants were slaughtered. I think it was like 80 elephants, and it started getting on how it was so horrible. And he explained how it's not so much the Africans who poach them, which they are scumbags for what they do. It's also the method that they do it in. They use machine guns, they use helicopters, they use grenades, and they scare the living hell out of these poor animals. Then they shoot them, and in some cases they're not even dead, and they hack out their tusks. And it's not for the Africans, it's not for even Americans, it's for these pieces of shits in China who want their ivory, and I hope they burn in fucking hell for what they've done.
Amazing.
88. Sorry. So anyway, he had this thing. I called in and I told him, I said, when I heard it when I heard him talking about it on the phone, my heart just broke. I literally had a lump in my throat because it bothered me so much. It really did. As you know, I'm a huge supporter of animal rights, and I've been a member. I was a member of more than 35 different animal sanctuaries and rescues.
I know you're like a big animal guy.
Yeah. So when I heard that, I was really, really disturbed by it. And so I called in and I talked to him about it.
Nice. Okay. And what did he tell you?
Well, as usual, he
cut the shit, hippie? Did he tell you to cut the shit and go hug a tree? What did he tell you?
No. He agreed with me, but as usual, he loves to hear himself talk. And
of course.
He just talks and talks and talks. And
yeah.
That was it. I think I got about maybe 2 sentences in, and that was the end of that.
That's right. That's right. It seems like what you conveyed went right into one ear and out the other.
So, perhaps. I really don't know. All I know is that I tried to voice my opinion on how, when I heard him bring up the topic, I was really disturbed about it, and that was about the extent of the conversation.
Understood. Oof.
But.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I liked Mark Levin, and I know you're not a big fan of his, but
he's got that voice that just annoys me. That's why.
And be that as it may, fine. But the fact is, compared to every other talk show host, he doesn't have any of these. He doesn't play like music through everything. He doesn't joke around. He doesn't. There's no commercialism in his show, and that's why I like it.
So that's why you liked it. Okay.
Yeah. Gets right to the point, and doesn't play bullshit like all the other talk show hosts.
What's the bird saying back there?
Kiki's she's just whistling. She's wondering what I'm doing up here. She's like, "Come on, it's my bedtime. It's put me to sleep."
Hey, you got her all excited.
Yeah,
you really did.
I sometimes do that with them.
Right. Another thing I would say is what does bother me, and in today's society that has been preserved, I would have to definitely confirm with you all these sort of NPC types that are running around spouting their verbal diarrhea, Mike.
NPC.
Those are like non-playable characters. These are just like absent-minded people, in other words. And yeah, Lilith in the chat room says, I thought it was a smoke alarm.
Actually, she's imitating a car backing up, and they got that beep.
Oh shit, beep, really?
Beep. That's what she's doing.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it's funny because when she does that, it's really piercing. When she does that, Sergeant, my blue and gold macaw, he'll say, "Shut up." There he goes. He just did it. Shut up.
I love that. We're gonna have to mic up these birds one day.
Oh, you should hear her. She's got this new thing that she says, and I didn't teach her. Maybe I told you.
Oh, there she goes.
She says, out of nowhere, she said, "Smells like shit."
Oh, I love that.
Where'd you get that from? So,
I
didn't teach her that.
Another thing I will say, I really hate local rappers out here, by the way, Mike.
Oh, I'm so tired of rappers.
There's local rappers out here where I live, and they talk too much. A lot of them aren't even talented whatsoever. A lot of them are lost trying to find their own self, or trying to find their own way, and trying to find themselves and all this nonsense that they're involved in. And it's kind of sad. I mean, they're selling, they're trying to send me their mixtapes, and it's like, what the fuck is this nonsense?
Are you kidding? Really?
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, there's some weird people out here.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm sick and tired of rap, and what really irritates me is how much I busted my ass being a musician who wrote my own music, mind you, not rap, music. Had a band who played their own instruments, and I never got to the level that I wanted to with my own band. But rap, you could be in jail and write a rap song about how you're the best guy and the whole best rapper in the whole system, and how much poontang you get, and how much the bitches love you, and how you sell coke and crack to the white boys. I mean, and then you'll get $1 million contract.
Calm down, Cracker. Calm down.
I've been in the wrong business all this time.
I know, right? Another thing I don't like. I don't really like kids too much.
I never liked kids myself.
They seem to really love me, Mike, but I don't really love them back.
Right here, and especially the way I look, like kids are always checking me out, and I'm like, what are you looking at, punk?
Kids are always, always looking at me, wanting to see if I'm their father. I'm not with it. I'm not with it. I don't like, I don't like single mothers. I don't like that.
You don't like them?
I don't like them. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to be around them. I don't want to be their friends.
What do you got against them?
They fucking suck.
Okay.
I don't want to be around that.
Okay.
The fact that, another thing I don't like the fact that the media glorifies, like super plus size models.
It's an interesting topic.
Well, I mean, why would you want to glorify something that's so unhealthy? What the fuck is that?
Exactly.
The fuck is that?
Exactly. But again, you know where that comes from? It comes from the liberal movement of and PC movement of everybody's beautiful. Okay, I agree that there's certain beauty, but you know what? Being obese is not healthy.
No,
for
fuck
you.
no. It's not.
good.
Not at all. Why promote a very unhealthy lifestyle? The fact that I can't express my opinion because it might offend you. Fuck you. Why can't I express myself? Why can't I express myself to why I dislike someone?
I can't tell you how many times when I was a musician, I can't tell you how many times I had been invited to be a judge for a beauty contest, like, local beauty contest. And, these girls who I wouldn't particularly say were beautiful or even, remotely.
The bird's backing up, by the way, Mike.
Yeah, I know. Just ignore it.
Heavy load. Backing up.
Heavy load.
Heavy load.
But these people, these girls who, look, when you say the word beauty contest, what comes to mind? Beauty.
Girls like Victoria's Secret models, yeah.
Okay, now there's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
If you're having a beauty contest, you're having a contest to see what people have beautiful features and should win the award for the contest. It's as simple as that.
Right.
And I can't tell you how many that I judged that women who won weren't even close to they had hairy lips.
Hairy lips. Oh my. By the way, someone by the name of Johnny's List in the chat room says, how can anyone hate children? And sad face. Well, I mean, I would love my children, but I wouldn't love your children. That's what I mean. I would love my children, but fuck your children. That's how I feel.
I understand how you feel because when I was younger too, the only kids I liked were my nieces and my nephew.
Exactly. That's my point. I like my kid, like my family's kids, but I'm not going to like your kids. Right. Not at all.
Hey, Bird, can you please shut up? I'm trying to do a radio show here. Thank you.
Tell that bird to shut the fuck up with the back.
Shut up, Bird. Shut up. Sergeant, tell him. Shut up.
Get in there.
Get in there, Bird.
Hey, he's backing up a heavy load and he's not done yet. That's... He's not doing his job. He only has one job, Mike, and the bird is not even done.
I can't tell you how much I hear that all day long. I don't know why she's doing it now. It's 10 after 1 in the morning.
Well, she's a heavy load, Mike. She's a plus-size model backing it up.
By the way, no offense to anyone out there who's heavy or not like a 10 model.
Very true.
I have it's no offense to you or anybody else like that.
No, it's the media's fault. Yes.
Right. It's simply it's not the media's fault.
Well, I
It's
mean,
a
they're the
politically
ones.
correct agenda.
Sure, but it ties in with the media as well because, they are complicit with it. Oh, did you leave, Mike?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
I thought you want to go grab the bird.
No, I just kind of gave her a look. I'm like, shut the hell up.
Oh, shit. The bird knew.
She's like, what? What'd I do? What'd I do? Beep, beep.
Yeah, the bird realized that you might get hungry one day and might want a sandwich.
Some chicken sandwich.
Right. It'll taste very exotic, Mike, that meat.
Quiet, please.
Oh, I heard
Keep it
her.
down.
She snuck it in.
Yeah, I'm sorry. She's just excited. She's wondering. God damn it. She's just wondering why I haven't put her to bed yet.
It's okay. We're going to come up to a close anyways. We already been on for a while here. But Mike, again, I want to thank you again for being a part of the program, as well as thanking Mr. Ashley for being a part of the program. Mr. Dugan Ashley, who was the first guest. If you haven't heard that interview and just catching up with us here, me and Mike, do yourself a favor and listen back to the interview with Mr. Dugan Ashley. Great stuff there.
Very good indeed.
Yeah, wasn't that fun?
Absolutely.
No doubt. So, Mike, once again, just an absolute pleasure to talk to you and share the air with you. And it's that time to wrap it up and take it home.
Right on.
Yes,
you want
my
me
friend.
To do my thing?
Do it. Go ahead.
All right. I want to say thank you to Michael. As always, had a great time. Thank you all listeners for listening. I hope I haven't offended anyone.
I hope you did.
You hope I did. I know you do. But if I did, folks, I don't take it personal. I didn't mean that, but just voicing my opinion. If you're interested in my art and photography, you can check it out at horribleartwork.com. If you're interested in any of my music and some of the things I've done in the past as a musician and performer with Empire Hideous, the Bronx Casket Company, the Misfits, and Spy Society 99, you can go to MikeHideous.com, and that's MYKE, MikeHideous.com. Last but not least, if you want to reach me on social media, the Facebook page is facebook.com/Hideous Mike, MYKE. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody, tonight, and had a great week, Michael. Thank you for everything.
And we don't discriminate against the thick women out there, the fluffy women.
Not at all.
We love them too. Yeah, we love everyone here.
I was just trying to make a point.
Indeed. Mike, once again, thank you so much for being a part of the program, and we'll talk again on Tuesday with a fellow Californian yet again, someone that was having second thoughts of even being on the program. Well, not him exactly, much more like his PR, the manager that they got, the political manager that this individual has, Mr. James Just, on Tuesday.
I was going to say, it wasn't Gary Valentine, was it?
No, it wasn't him. It was not him.
Calm down.
No, Gary Lockman.
Right. Yeah. Also known as Gary Valentine.
Well, I just kind of know him as just Gary Cocksucker.
That too.
Yeah, fuck him. Yeah, fuck that guy. So once again, thank you so much, Mike, and I'll see you Tuesday.
All right, buddy. You have a good night. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Talk to you soon.
Mahalo.
Ciao.
And there he goes. And of course, thank you to Doug and Robin. What a call that was. We love talking to her. Maybe my new favorite caller ever. Good God, Robin was good. Love that. And no, there is no show tomorrow. Tuesday. That's fake news. Tuesday is when we will be live yet again with Mr. James Just. Oh yes. Same time. Well, actually not the same time. Regular time, 5:30 p.m. out here for the West, 8:30 p.m. for you in the East Coast. And I want to thank all of you out there in the chat room. Once again, the mods. You did a great job. Thank you very much. And thank you to Christina who donated. And thank you to everyone who has donated as well. I really do appreciate that. Don't forget, if you are a fan of the program and want bonus material, patreon.com/Michael Decon. Yes, Lilith. Thank you for providing the link there. The Patreon where you can find exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else, not even on the podcast rendition, which you can also find on iTunes, Stitcher, and CastBox. And remember, if you do want to donate and you don't want to be a part of Patreon, you can just go to michaeldecon.com, and there's a PayPal link right there. Any amount, I'll throw you a bone and send you a few of the episodes. Maybe I'll send all of the episodes to you. My gift to you, no doubt. International listeners out there, thank you so much for your support as well. You know who you are. Love the Germans, the Canadians, those from across the pond, as they say in the UK, Australia down under, Norway, and Brazil. Love the Brazilians. Oh yeah, by the way, and Colombia, we have a few listeners out there nowadays too, which is very unusual. Very unusual. Love the Colombians as well. Very interesting, yes. Now, whatever it is that you do choose to believe, now is the time to adapt and evolve. Tomorrow is not promised, my friends. Your job may not be there when all of this is said and done. I hope you thought about that, boys and girls. And there's nothing more frightening than reality. I hope you well out there wherever you may be on this island Earth. And with that said, the world is a mysterious place, and life itself is a mystery. Until next time, good night, everybody.
We'll be right back.